What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 75 of the Taste Cast, our weekly podcast where we talk about things, react to things, do a bunch of random shit. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
I'm Chris.
And returning from BrokenDialRadio.com, friend of the channel, Paul. How's it going, Paul?
Good. How's it going?
Good. We were recently just talking about chairs and what else did we just talk about?
I don't know. It was kind of a roller coaster of conversation there.
Yeah, we had a lot of problems before getting into this. So, but welcome back.
MIDI controllers.
Good MIDI controllers. Yeah. Good to have you back. And,
yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah. Quick reminder to play Destiny 2 and God of War 3. Both are for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to play those. Come back at the end of the month for Plus Club. Let us know what you thought of those games. We'll let you know what we thought of them. And our game of the month this month is Deep Rock Galactic. Make sure to play that as well. Come back at the end of the month. We will talk about that also. We also have a Discord link down below if you want to talk to us anytime, all the time. And we are on Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast platforms. If you'd prefer to listen to us, and if you're listening to us and you want to watch us, come to YouTube at Tasty Loot Gaming and check out our faces. And yeah, so with every Tastecast, we typically start with what we've been playing. And yeah, who wants to start?
I have a real short list, so it'll be easy.
Yeah, do that.
Final Fantasy 14, which I mostly hopped in and kind of pointed at stuff. I was like, hey, Chris, run here, run here, run here. And then we killed some stuff, and that was 14 for the week. So not too exciting there.
Sounds pretty exciting.
And then Destiny 2, kind of been playing that. I can't obviously talk about too much because
it's one of our games for PlayStation Plus.
But that is the reason I've been playing that. Among actually, the fact that the game constantly gives you loot, and that is something we talk about as our main hook at this channel anyways. So it has kind of kept me occupied.
Definitely.
That's my list.
Chris, what have you been playing?
Final Fantasy 14 and Destiny.
All right, this is going to be
The trend here.
a game that's real exciting things happened in, and another game we can't talk about too much yet.
I did play a bit of Warcraft too. They just updated the first raid is out.
Wait, you were playing Warcraft 2?
No, Warcraft as well.
Oh, as well, gotcha. I was like, damn, that's old school, dog.
No. But they added the first raid, and I believe the first world PvP, kind of resource race thing. I'm not quite sure because I haven't really delved too deep into it. But those are new things.
How are you liking it?
It's okay. There's a little more focus on PvP styled gameplay. It's not necessarily PvP. You play against bots for a lot of it, but it's not my favorite so far.
Have you been playing continually over the years, or did you just jump into it for this?
I do kind of this off and on thing. It's like meth, where I do it for a long time and then I take a quick break. I'm like, no, I'm clean, and then I get addicted again.
Might as well try it one more time.
Yeah, one more time. It's not gonna hurt. I want one hit. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's my Rocket League right there.
You still playing that?
I try it every time I get out. They keep sucking me back in.
Yeah. That whole fucking story. It's Warframe for me. Anytime I go back to that game, I'm like, oh, I love this game. Yeah. So, what were you thinking about Destiny 2 so far, Chris? Without going too far into it.
It is very reminiscent for me.
Uh-oh. I saw it in your eyes too. There was this deadness in your eyes when you said that. It's like you're remembering the time someone failed you.
Not necessarily in a bad way, but it does bring an old flashbacks for me.
PTSD.
Man,
I
you
feel
are
that.
staring off into the distance right now.
Yeah, I feel it. And Final Fantasy 14, anything worth mentioning?
I am very confused and lost.
In life, what about 14?
There's just I've been gone for I don't know how long, but a good chunk of time.
At least about a year, I'd say. Yeah.
So that's a lot of content to catch up on in a short amount of time. So it's very daunting.
Yeah, I had to go through that myself here recently, and then patch 4.4 is coming out, and they're going to start talking about the expansion in that patch. So I mean, there's a lot of catch up to do there.
That is the worst thing, and not in a negative sense, but it's the worst thing about MMOs is when you've been gone for a while and you come back, because if you can get over that hump, you're great. But it's always almost a hindrance of like, man, I'm gonna hop back in. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And like anytime I hop back into any MMO, like every time I hop back into Neverwinter, there's new content. There's been new content for a long time. I already got to max level when the base game came out, and when I come back, I'm like, I'm not doing this again. Are you fucking serious? Like they did this to me. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I'll say I got it all figured out, and I was caught up for the most part, with the exception of like the actual main story itself, in like a week. So
that's pretty quick.
Yeah, my challenge right now is that the minimum item level for the next dungeon is 435, and I'm at 431 or something like that. So I'm like, I have to squeeze out a couple more.
God, you saying those numbers, I can see my character sheet in fucking Destiny 2 right now. I'm fucking the character menu. I'm just thinking of my gear rank right now. Or what is that called?
Item level.
Yeah.
Light level?
Yeah.
Light level in that game, but
yeah.
It's item level in every game.
Yeah, it's all the same shit. All the same shit. I've just been looking at that for a week.
Diablo 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one thing that drives me nuts too, is anytime I look up stuff for that game, like everybody calls it D2, which makes complete sense. But whenever I see that, I always just think of Diablo 2. Because forever that will be D2 to me. Or fucking Mighty Ducks.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else you've been playing?
No.
All right. Good list. Okay, so I have been continuing Dead by Daylight. Still playing that. Right now, though, not as much as I would like to. Doing more so like daily stuff. Kill this person or kill with this person this many times. Hit this many times with a chainsaw. So it's still fun. Definitely like it. Played the new Spider-Man a little bit. Very impressed with it so far. I think it's the closest I've ever seen a comic book video game allow you to feel like that superhero in day-to-day life. In fact, I can't think of any superhero game that has even attempted to do that. Most of the games are just like, you're Superman, fly around, here's the bad guy, beat their ass. You're Spider-Man, swing around, punch people, all that shit. You know, that's most of the time. Any Wolverine game is just like, kill everything. And you're just like, wah! And you start just slicing people up. But in this, the narrative mixed with like the city and being able to even like hit like square when you look at people and you like point at them and say stuff to them, and people are like, oh my God, it's Spider-Man. Like you'll walk through a crowd and people are like, oh my God. And they're like taking pictures and shit. There's a really cool factor to it that just allows you to feel like even when you're not doing a mission, you're still Spider-Man. You're still doing that.
That's cool.
I've been playing that too. I just started playing it today, and the other thing about that is like you do like your actual like Peter Parker day job stuff as well,
which is
like
really cool.
And
Persona.
like you're like not able to web swing. You're just like walking around and like talking to people and whatnot, which kind of grounds it more in reality for me at least.
Yeah, it brings Spider-Man as a character like to life because you're also playing as Peter Parker. Like even I've played the game for maybe like an hour or two, so I'm not very far into it. But even in the beginning, when you're working on, I'm going to keep it vague for anyone who doesn't want to hear about the story. But when you're trying to repair some machinery that's broken, it was kind of cool, like doing something that wasn't Spider-Man related. It makes the character feel more alive, and I don't know. I really like the way they went with it. I haven't really seen it done. I also appreciate the emphasis on you're not a dude with superpowers who's just beating the bad guys. You're a hero. You're a superhero, which is something that I think a lot of people kind of skip over in these kind of games, because there's parts where like people are trapped under like debris and shit, and you're like trying to lift it, and like you're telling them like, okay, I'm gonna lift this. It's really fucking heavy. Once I lift it, you guys need to get the hell out of here. Like, just if you can walk, help other people. If you can't, just you got to get out of here. And then you fucking lift, and they like run off. They're like, thank you, blah blah blah, and like it feels more like you're a superhero, not just like I gotta go beat up the bad guy.
That's really cool, and it's funny because when you started talking about that part, and I'm gonna jump to anime real quick. Sorry, but in My Hero Academia,
people in the community who appreciate that.
The arc they're in right now, they're learning how to be heroes, and they just had to do a course where they had to learn how to like rescue people from debris and stuff like that. So it's really funny you were kind of bringing that up. It's like that anime was also trying to like cover that part of Heroes. Like, hey, it's not just about beating the bad guys; it's also about like doing these things.
It's just
and taking
small stuff like that. Just adds. It reminds you that you're here to save people. You're not John Wick. You're not walking this building to just kill everybody. That'd be dope. Make that game. He ain't saving shit. He's he's saving people when he tells them they can go home. They're like, thank you, and they leave. But just those small things, because like a lot of superhero games, I'm always used to like you walk in the building, they're like, oh man, they must be doing something bad in here, and then all the guys are like, it's Batman, and they come running at you and just beat their ass, and then you run into Killer Croc, and he's like, I fucking hate you, and you're like, I don't give a shit, and then you fight him, and that's it. And it's like, okay, I mean that was cool to see that guy and kill him, but that's it. So Spider-Man definitely, you could tell these guys are like really enthusiastic with the property. They're not making a Marvel Cinematic Universe game tie-in. They're making something for people who like Spider-Man, and it's awesome. You have anything else you want to say on that, Paul?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really liking the game so far. I'm probably like 3 or 4 hours into it, so just a little bit of time, but it feels really good. The web swinging is awesome. That's probably the most important part of it.
Definitely.
Like you were saying, just kind of, it's not like this game is really doing anything like boldly that no other game has done. It does, like, the combat feels Batman reminiscent, but a little bit faster, and the combat area is bigger because you can web swing around and things like that. But it's really good too. It's like I didn't hate Batman combat. It was probably the best like superhero style combat that's before this game.
Yeah, it defined like group combat for a lot of games for a long time. So, and even though I kind of agreed, like I wasn't super in love with it, I mean it was neat, and I think this game does do it very similar, but in its own way for sure.
But yeah, it's like obviously Spider-Man stories have been going on for fucking ever. There's been like multiple new origin stories, and this game doesn't seem to focus on that. He's like already like a semi grown up Spider-Man, like he's out of college and everything like that, and he's just like doing his daily Spider-Man stuff as well as his real life stuff. Like he's already broken up with Mary Jane and some other things like that. I don't want to spoil too much. That's not a spoiler at all.
I really appreciate that they skipped that whole origin story aspect. Like he's like referencing like, oh, back in high school. I'm like, thank you that we're past that. But everybody knows that story.
There is one thing that I thought was really like, they have a lot of like references to the Spider-Man universe that they've switched some of the stuff up, and like people will get some of the jokes and stuff like that. But I really like that J. Jonah Jameson is now like a podcasting like conspiracy theorist.
He reminds me of Alex Jones. Yeah.
And it's like you can unsubscribe from his podcast. That's how they call it, to turn off his like every now and then he pops up on the radio and whatnot. But I think it's hilarious. And I don't know. I think it's a really fun game. I feel like the story's good so far, but I don't really know where the twists are coming yet or anything like that. But definitely gonna keep checking it out. There's a lot of things you could do in that game though, like as far as collectibles and
apparently there's like 30 or 40 outfits or something. Yeah. Maybe even more.
A lot of them are really dope looking too.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I guess they all have their own like ability or something, property to them.
Yeah, and not only that, if you unlock it, like you don't need to have that one for that power. Like you can use any of the suits you've unlocked power with any of the suits. Like
oh,
you pick
cool!
Your power from the list.
I say Insomniac Games is, they Ratchet and Clank, all the weapons are ridiculous. You know what I mean? So
that's the thing, man. They really had fun with this game. You can tell, like, they want this game first off to, like, they're not going like this needs to be believable and grounded. Like they're like, this is Spider-Man. It's gonna be fucking fun. We're gonna put all that shit you wanted from the older Spider-Man games, different costumes. That's definitely gonna be in this. But we're gonna add 2018 modern mechanics and fucking abilities, which makes it more interesting, give you a sense of progression, skill trees, stuff like that. And one thing you said that I completely agree with is I think the most crucial thing for this game is the web slinging. It has to feel good and it feels awesome. It's idiot proof too though, because if you fly into a building, the animation's so good, he'll just like run against the building or run up the building. Like there's no way to fuck up really. Aside from wasting time.
So there's no weird like stutters. It just keeps.
No, you don't like slam into the building or like he doesn't glitch out or something. Like he'll literally. There's so many different animations.
There are some chasing missions and things like that where you do want to make sure you're not doing that kind of thing. But as it seemed like I was looking ahead in the tech tree and whatnot, because you can unlock a bunch of stuff, and it seems like a lot of that stuff actually makes up for some of the mess ups you may have and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like extra web boost or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah, there's a whole tree just for web slinging, I think, which I saw in there.
You do tricks. One of the things you unlock, you just do tricks for fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would say they already have a lot of animations for when you're swinging. Like, he'll just be just turning in the air while he's swinging and just like moving weird and shit as you're going. Like, he's not just doing this the whole time. And it's really cool to watch, especially when you fly real low over cars and you can hear, like, the sound design's really good. Because as you fly by, it's like, and like you can just hear him driving. It's really neat. Although it's too early, so I didn't put it on Twitter and at them. But I was walking by traffic and all the cars had no one in them, and they're all driving. And I was like, oh, that's creepy.
2018, man, self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Driving no one anywhere. Yeah, they're just doing it because they
They're all
can.
testing right now.
Yeah, it's just Elon Musk's city. Eventually they all popped in, so I'm like, okay, there they are. But it was a good like minute that I was just like watching these cars drive by. And I was like, ugh, this is
Didn't
eerie.
want to render.
Yeah. And I was staying right next to one of those, and I was impressed by this too. This dude was flipping a sign for whatever business. You know, those guys you see on the street who are just like doing the fucking kick flips and shit with the sign. I remember one time I was on the bus and one guy was talking to his friend and he's like, oh, what you been up to, man? He's like, oh, I've been flipping signs, bro. And he's like, flipping signs? He's like, yeah, dude, it's a good job. Pays good. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, you learning the tricks? He's like, dude, I have this other guy. He's been mentoring me. He's like, I've been learning all the tricks. Dude, I learned how to do this. And he started naming off these things. I'm like, is this a real cultural? Like, is that a group of people that exist?
Next year at the X Games, sign flipping.
I mean, that's cool. You're making money doing that, I guess. But I was like, damn, that's a whole section of people I had no idea
about.
existed.
Yeah.
So anyway, in Spider-Man, a fake world.
I thought you were talking about somebody who came into in the game, like Spider-Man walked up to a sign spinner and was asking him about it. And
No, it was real life that I saw that. But so I appreciate that way more because of that conversation. But
I see a fluffy puppy.
I see a pupper too.
oh yeah, with Atlas.
Oh,
Welcome to the show,
Chris is
Atlas.
stoked. Puppy.
Want some- Apparently, I'll just sit over here.
Put him on the camera. Yeah, so in Spider-Man, I'm watching these cars drive by and they're just completely empty, and I'm just standing next to this guy and he's like, huh, huh, and I'm like looking over him. He's swinging a sign too, and he's doing all the tricks, and it's fully mocapped. I was like, they didn't need to do that, but they did.
They just brought some dude into mocap.
That small thing, yeah. They brought in the Tony Hawk of fucking sign flippers to do that because it looks really good. And I was like, this makes the world feel like, and I say this all the time, but this makes it feel alive because there's people who are doing that in real life. So to see people doing shit like that, I was like, it's awesome. Aside from all the self-driving cars with the hologram people in them,
and the game looks fucking beautiful.
It's
I've
really
been
good looking.
Spending way too much time in photo mode just because, like, you're like web swinging, all of a sudden hitting the button real quick because there's like sunset and shit like that. It looks pretty awesome.
What's the button to do that? Because I couldn't find it last night, but I didn't really look or try.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'll just have to pause and look for it.
Yeah, I think it's like a pause option for photo mode, so you can just pause real quick and then hit photo mode. It's either like the touchpad or the pause button. It's one or the other.
Apparently, what you do in Sony games now, you just like, oh, that's pretty. Stop.
Yeah, it's become because it's a great tool for advertising.
Oh,
it's
for
also a great
sure.
tool to get communities to go, look at this, let's keep talking about this game that these people made, and they're like, this is awesome. People fucking still talking about our game. So yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, I think it was Josh. Some game was coming out. He's like, oh, it's got a photo mode. I'm like, I mean, yeah. I mean, they all do now. It makes complete sense.
Yeah, especially when you got companies like Sony on their Twitter being like, we're doing a giveaway this week. We'll do our top 5 screenshots of our game, type of thing. Send them
Damn,
in.
where's that at? I need to get in on that.
They do it all the
I'm gonna
time.
apply some photography knowledge on that. Oh yeah, on Twitter though, there was There was a picture somebody put up. It was really eerie. It was like in the middle of the night in a graveyard, and a Spider-Man. He had like a peace symbol, and he's doing a selfie. And behind him, it just said Ben Parker, like the grave. Like, it's creepy, just out in the graveyard at night, like, yo, what's up? Fucking hanging out with Uncle Ben. But that's cool. They even have that grave existing in the world. So
That's morbid as fuck.
I mean, it's real. That's real. That's the streets, dog.
Just become fucking cold and callous to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been years. It's not that origin story anymore. He's like, yeah, Ben was cool. Whatever. He lived a good. He was living his best life. Anything else you want to say on that, Paul?
No, I think that's
good. All right.
about it.
Last game I've been playing, only game I've been playing for like a week. I've been going to work. I've been coming home. I've been playing it. I go to sleep. I wake up. If I wake up early enough, I play it. I go to work. I just keep doing that over and over again. Destiny 2. And don't misinterpret that as I'm saying this game's like amazing, it's the best thing ever, blah 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 blah. I just can't stop playing it. Like kind of like Chris was talking about earlier, meth and shit. It's just like you know it's bad. You know it's bad for you. You just keep doing it. Like I was a smoker for years, and fucking it's like that. It's like I just need to get that fucking fullness in my lungs. I need to get that.
Don't talk about that too much.
Yeah, you know. And without talking about it too much, because we have to have a full conversation about it at the end of the month, a couple things I want to say that I don't think will spoil my my opinion on it too much, although obviously I'm liking enough to be playing it all week, is I think Destiny 2 is essentially doing what Destiny 1 should have done. It's what Destiny should have been when it came out.
I agree.
I think they learned a lot of lessons, and I'm glad to see that they learned those lessons and fixed virtually, I think, all of them. Now, regardless of if you like Destiny, you hated it, you liked it, blah, 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 just know if you're not playing right now, anything you complained about, they probably fixed it. So you might come back and might go, okay, it's still the same thing, or okay, yeah, they fixed enough. Nothing enough to be like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. Nothing groundbreaking at all. They just really fixed that formula. So I have to give them credit for that. Because when Destiny came out, the first one, we were all super hyped on it. We played the shit out of it constantly. We got to the end game. We did the raid. Raids are very impressive in Destiny for a game like that. I did not expect them to do raids that well. And then they just start pumping out PvP content and
over again.
and some really repetitive shit. And I was like, this isn't what I wanted to keep playing.
I didn't buy a co-op game to kill other people.
Yeah. So, this one, they released the base game, and they have the DLCs on sale for $10, or I think it's $20 for both of them now, so it's still $10 a piece. And then Forsaken just came out, so if you get into it now and you want to spend the $60 you probably would have spent on the base game, which I did.
You can get everything.
You can get everything, which I think, honestly, now, I'm still trying to keep my opinion out of this too much, but I think now is the best time. Probably not for Bungie. I'm sure they would have loved if you would have bought it when it came out, but I think now is the...
Activision would have loved.
Well, both of them. No one works on a game for years and goes, "Fuck, man, no one bought this," and they're okay with it. I think now is the best time for them to have just what they did right now. They released the game. They got my money. They would have never gotten it. I would have never even thought about this fucking game. So played it. They let me play it all the way through the base game, and I bought their DLCs. So definitely check it out. But yeah. Been playing that a lot. It's it's set up like most MMOs, obviously, but there's always something you're about to fucking unlock. They took a lot of notes from
other
MMOs, Activision games, Warframe. I feel like they were looking at Warframe a little bit, especially on some of them loading screens when you're just watching ships fly, and Call of Duty, which is Activision. So because Call of Duty is really good about, you walk 10 feet, you're the best ever.
Good job.
Here's guns. Ah! And you're just like, oh, great.
Hey, you
This
died.
is nice.
That's okay. Get in there, try again.
Yeah, exactly. You died. Who gives a shit? Keep playing. Your level's going up. So yeah, they took on a lot of that. But yeah, I've been playing fucking way too much of that, and I'm probably gonna play it right after this. So hopefully, I'm hoping that whole burnout. I hope, but I'm on vacation this whole week. And I'm hoping midweek I'll just be like, I'm done with Destiny 2. I'm just fucking so burnt out. I don't even want to think about it. I want to do the exact same thing that Borderlands 2 did, where I played Borderlands 2 so much I can't fathom touching it ever again.
Burned it straight to the ground.
Yeah, I loved it so much, and I grinded out everything, got the best gear, all that shit. Did it the same thing over and
Now
over
it
and over
just gets
again.
to be a
Get
fond
that,
memory.
and I'm like, that was fun, but it's like Schindler's List. I'm not doing it again. I appreciate it. I can't fucking do it again. It's a very weird comparison, but you get where I'm
It
coming
was a
from.
weird comparison.
I think people get it. But yeah, so I've been playing.
All right.
Paul, what have you been playing?
Well, other than Spider-Man, obviously, I've actually been playing a lot of Street Fighter V recently.
Okay.
Evo was, what, 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to say a month for sure. So yeah, around that.
And I watched a bunch of that, and while that was going on, they had a bunch of fighting games on Steam for a free trial. So I checked out that, Tekken 7, and the new BlazBlue Tag, whatever, and a couple other games. But I really ended up liking both Street Fighter V and Tekken 7, but I've definitely been playing a lot more Street Fighter V. And it's weird because Street Fighter games have been around forever, and I've always like checked them out, but never gotten deep into any of them.
Mhm.
And now I'm like getting into this whole world of actually understanding how Street Fighter games work.
Yeah.
And it's, like watching fucking YouTube tutorials and a bunch of other shit.
Cool.
But it's actually super interesting. And I'm digging it. I finally started beating people in ranked online. I
Damn.
was pretty proud
How
of
are
that.
the servers? That's something I'm always really afraid of in fighting games because a lot of them, like if I run into lag while I'm fighting someone, I get really annoyed, like fast.
You can set your connectivity, like when you're
Requirements.
searching, you can set it to like only high ping and shit like that or
Okay.
whatever.
Oh, so
But I
peer-to-peer.
haven't really ran into too much problems. There was like
That's good.
1 or 2 matches that like there was lag and it fixed itself quickly.
Sadly, the last fighting game I played online, so it's been a grip, but was Soul Calibur 5, which I already wasn't a huge fan of Soul Calibur 5 anyway, and I love Soul Calibur. But that game, I either was in a match and it went fine, or I was in a match and I couldn't interpret what was happening because I was getting hit and they weren't near me, or like I'd go to block and like there was like it was just horrible. I hated it. So ever since then, and games before that, so this is a while ago. I'm sure networking's got a lot better, but I just have a weird thing in my head where I'm like, oh god, I'm just gonna get beat by someone who didn't beat me by skill, but by fucking bad
Technicality.
internet. Yeah, which is something I've been haunted by with FPSs forever.
Yeah, the game, I know it didn't like it kind of floundered when it was first released because it didn't have the story mode and it didn't have like a lot of the stuff. But picking it up after Arcade Edition was released, like there's a lot of content in the game. I really like the arcade mode where it's like you pick which Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3 Alpha. Like there's different arcade towers for each game, and it has those fighters with like the closest to their costume from those games.
Oh, that's
It
cool.
tells that character at the end. It gives a little like short like comic strip of their story from that era of Street Fighter. So that's really cool. There's a lot of like redone music from some of the old stage themes and shit like that. A lot of stuff to unlock though, and it seems like there's way too much. Like everything is like a million too many fighter bucks or whatever the fuck it's called. Like they want you to just buy it in the store because you can buy most of the stuff in the store, or
Sounds
you can just
kind of
save
like
up your
Capcom.
yeah. So that part's kind of annoying, but it's not like anything I need. So it's not really bothering me. Story mode is kind of cheesy, but it's nowhere near as good as like the Mortal Kombat story mode.
Yeah, that's a tall order though.
Yeah.
Those guys really knocked that out of the park.
But I don't really need a story mode in Street Fighter, and just like
How is it? Like obviously, as you know, compared to Mortal Kombat, I'm sure it's not even on par. But I can't fathom a story mode in Street Fighter. So like, is there like full cutscenes or really?
Yeah, it's like
That's crazy.
cutscenes, and that goes into fights. It's trying to pretty much do the Mortal Kombat thing, but it's not. It kind of just goes all over the place. Like, you know how Mortal Kombat was like really good at like connecting the characters together, like how they came across each other. Like this will just be like, and then Ryu was over here talking to Dalsum, and then this girl was at an airport. Like it's just like, it's very disconnected, disjointed, and you don't like. There's no lead up as to why you should know this story, because it's like a weird combo of all the stories intermingling with each other and whatnot. It's like what Mortal Kombat did good, but only they're not doing it as good. And it's pretty short too.
Yeah.
And it's weird too, because it's like, I don't know if it's just the way I downloaded the game, but like I couldn't find the story, and then I found out it was DLC that was free that you had to download, and then I couldn't find it on the PlayStation Store. I had to like find a link and go there through that, like, and get it on the computer, because I was searching all the Street Fighter content and I couldn't find the story mode. So like,
damn,
they made it hard to find for a rereason. I don't know.
I'm glad to hear that it's good, because when it came out, and I don't even know when it was released. I can't even, like, I don't know when, like, how long it's been out. So when it came out, though, I don't remember hearing about it. And then every once in a while I'm reminded that it's out. And I'm like, that came out? I thought that was coming out. And then, like, every once in a while people are like, oh, God, I hated it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck? Did it come out? And now you're saying, you know, everything's kind of there now, which is good to hear.
Dude, they released an arcade edition, which was kind of like the, hey, I'm sorry, here's what the game should have been.
Yeah.
So
I still think like the training mode isn't so great. They do have like these trials, but like if you don't like take the time to, or if you don't already know like a lot about those games, or take the time to like look up how to do that, I think new people could find it frustrating. Like if I didn't watch Evo first, I probably would have bounced right off it, I think. But seeing what people could do and like more understanding how to play that game has made it good. And I don't know, I'm an idiot too, because I picked I'm maining Jury. She was from Street Fighter 4, but like she's one of the most complicated characters, because she has like three stored moves. You have to like you get little stores down in the corner, and then one store that you can't even see if you have it or not. You just have to know. So it's like, it's probably the most technical character, but I really like that, because once you get all that stuff, you like can do anything pretty much. So cool.
Yeah, that's Street Fighter's one of the series out there that like I respect and I think is actually a really cool game. Obviously, you know, I grew up with Street Fighter as a kid and played them all the time. But as I've gotten older, I've realized it's not my kind of fighting game. It's really hard for me to get into Street Fighter, because they're very Street Fighter is very technical in like a combo sense.
Yeah,
like if you
it's not a button mashy combo game, because like what I've realized is it's like a specific timing to the combos, and it'll either be like press like that much space in between. So if you're just going in there pressing a bunch of buttons, you're not going to do shit other than Chun-Li's kit.
Exactly. And like if you're playing against someone who even like slightly knows what they're doing combo wise, you're going to get decimated. So it's a game about understanding your character, which I think is an argument you can make for other fighting games as well, but like it's different. So for instance, like I love Soul Calibur, I love Tekken. Tekken and Soul Calibur are more technical in a positional, obviously understanding your character, but understanding your weapon, what it can do, and where you should be when someone does something. It's completely different than like Street Fighter, which obviously you need to know how to dodge shit too, but I'd still say Guilty Gear and BlazBlue are more like hyper on that area. But Street Fighter is so like it's all about those combos and knowing how to react to those combos, know how to use those combos and those moves.
Except for Tekken is always brought up as hitbox porn.
Probably like Marvel vs. Capcom or Dragon Ball Z, because those are 2D fighters. It's a little bit different than like Soul Calibur and Tekken. But those games I feel like are a lot more friendly to newcomers, because they both have like easy combos that you can just go in there and tap a bunch of buttons, and it looks really cool, like you're doing a bunch of cool shit.
Some of those games though, to be more accessible, which I understand because they got to sell the fucking game to make the games, but they've made certain moves like just way too accessible. Like you can hit the stick and it'll do a move.
That was
I just started up Tekken 7 today, and there was this big update, and it was like, oh, we have auto combos now, so just press square, 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 or triangle, triangle, triangle for these combos, or press like R2 and forward or down or left and right to do these special moves.
Holy
shit! So they just added like a fucking noob mode, pretty much.
They better have like either a way to filter not fighting those people, or at least let you know you're fighting someone who's doing that, because that's ridiculous.
Usually the way they do that is balancing. Like usually those combos hurt less, like than if you did it in real life with the actual inputs and stuff like that. Because I know like Dragon Ball has stuff like that, and some other fighting games. But I don't know how they're doing in this. I didn't even end up messing around with it. I fucking read that for a while, and then something happened. I ended up playing Street Fighter instead. So.
Tekken's like one of the only games where I'll hold a controller differently when it comes to a fighting game. Like all fighting games, I hold the controller like you're supposed to, like a fucking decent human being. But in Tekken, I hold it like this, and I rest my hand like this, and I press like that, because the way Tekken is, like Chevy was saying too, it always gets like GIFs and videos of like the hitbox porn of it, because you can like get a near miss and like duck under somebody and like go to punch here and then punch the left, and it's all about those combos in that sense.
I do the same exact thing. I actually bought a fight pad because I'm like this close to buying a fight stick, but it's like $200, so I'm not like ready to do that yet.
They're steep.
But that's mostly for Street Fighter because it's a 3-button game, and the fight pad has the 3 buttons there. But I do that same thing where it's control one side normally, and then use my fingers like that, just because I'm faster.
Yeah, you can't play Tekken like as well as somebody if they're able to hit multiple buttons in succession faster with 2 fingers versus like one thumb trying to hit the different areas. Like it doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
I'll play it sometimes to try and like casually play Tekken, and then I'm like, I can't fucking do this, and I start just going.
Yeah, some people are really good with the controller in standard way, but a lot of people I've noticed like use the trigger buttons for different things, like 2 different combined buttons and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
So
I didn't think about that.
I would say, because I don't do that, but I do take advantage of shortcut keys on the top. Yeah.
I hate using triggers at all in fighting games.
Yeah,
like,
me
I
too.
hated having fierces up here, like that always has bothered me.
It feels so gross. I hate it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Like these are for shooting, motherfucker. They're not for punching.
As long as they're not like something I'm using a lot. Like it's something like, okay, I know this one's going to be like, triangle and square or whatever at the same time. Do that real quick. Especially like if it's something like throws. Just right there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, throws and blocks, stuff like that doesn't bother me so much, although actually I don't really have a preference on holding back or pressing like R1 for a block, but that stuff doesn't bother me so much because those almost feel like utility, like tools in my move set, but like for punching and kicks,
that's what a lot of those combo buttons are, because even like Guilty Gear bursting, you can do it by hitting multiple buttons, or you can just hit one of the shoulder buttons and boom, burst.
Yeah, and that's fine too.
So
but I have a couple more games I played. I just want to try to get through them quick so we don't take too long.
Yeah.
But I had some friends in town for PAX that I went to, and one of my friends, we were looking through games and whatnot, and he's like, "Oh, have you played What Remains of Edith Finch yet?" And I was like, "No, I keep meaning to." He's like, "We're gonna do that right now." So I played through that the other night, and that game I really liked. I thought it was fucking a really good story. It was only like 2.5 hours, 3 hours maybe.
It's perfect for me.
Yeah, but it was fucking visually, it was fucking beautiful. It told good story. It was in and out, didn't take up too much time. And
that's a story game, right? Where you walk.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of like kind of like Gone Home or Everyone's Gone to the Rapture or something like
that.
Which
I really like that one.
Yeah. So if you like that, if you haven't checked out Edith Finch yet, definitely check that out. That game does some really cool stuff with environment. That I think is super interesting.
When that game came out, it got a lot of praise, and I kept looking and going like, I don't even know what the hell it is. And then like people kept saying like, this is really good, this is really good, this is really good. So it's one of those games I need to go back and play, because anytime you have just like overall everybody is saying this game's good, it's like you gotta have really particular taste typically to not.
Like the first Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And then in one game of the year, I was like, all right,
I was avoiding that game, avoiding everybody saying it's good, great, it's amazing, and then fucking finally won that award. I was like, okay, I guess I'll check it out. I think Edith Finch also won an award. So
yeah, I would definitely say check that game out. But also, it is a pretty emotional game. So like, don't go playing that game if you're like don't want to have your mood spoiled or anything like that. Because it can be pretty depressing.
I don't have that problem.
I love that feeling. I want to feel. I want to feel something. Last of Us, man. Fucking, I cried like 4 different times in that game.
That game. That game did pull at me a little bit.
God,
but most games
can't
do it for me. So.
I don't want to spoil much, but this game there's multiple characters and facets to the story, and I feel like a lot of them are things that could relate to a bunch of different people. So there's probably going to be like 1 or 2 stories that are actually like poignant to you, whereas the rest of them are like still effective, but like you can't relate as much. So yeah, that was cool. And finally, I've been playing a lot of Hunt Showdown, which is an early access game from Crytek. That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's the name of the engine or the developer?
I think Crytek is making it.
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because this game has had multiple names tonight, too. So.
Yeah, Crytek,
It's Hunter
making
Showdown.
it, CryEngine is the engine.
Yeah.
Well,
But
no,
yeah,
earlier
so that's,
it was
that's
Shunt
like,
Hoedown.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I've been playing a lot of Shunt
I
Hoedown.
wish it was called that.
But that's an interesting game where it's teams of two go in and you
It's
hunt
5
down
teams, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But you hunt down monsters, but you can also kill each other. And there's like your hunters can die, and all the gear that they have and all the levels that they have to unlock more stuff dies with them. So you want to balance out whether or not you want to keep hunting monsters, or you can just go in and kill all the like little creeps and stuff like that, because you can leave the game at any time to kind of like fight another day kind of thing. But it's a really cool game. It kind of is like a cross between like Evolve and what's the monster game you guys played recently for, it was a PlayStation Plus game.
The one you
Dead by
play
Daylight?
all the time. Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight?
Yeah.
Dead by Daylight. Yeah, there's some aspects of Dead by Daylight in there as well. And a little bit of like, PUBG or something like that.
It's a really interesting hybrid, because when I played it, I bought it, and we were talking about this already a little bit, but like for anyone obviously watching, I was having like connection issues, loading issues, which apparently are still there, but it just took a little long with the connecting, that I was just like, this is taking way too long to even play this game. But when I did play it, like there's some elements of like DayZ survival games. It kind of felt like Monster Hunter slightly to me too, because like you're hunting down these different types of monsters that fight you differently and have different properties, and there's different ways to take them down. Like I fought against this spider who's like, and it was creepy. The thing like crawled across the ceiling really fast and would go out of the building through windows and shit.
I'm good.
And its animations were fucking. I mean, it's CryEngine, so it was top notch.
Yeah, there's right now all I know of is two monsters. There's that spider, and there's the butcher, which is like this giant dude in like a pig head mask.
Right.
And they're both effectively creepy in different ways, and they attack in completely different ways and everything like that.
Yeah.
But once you kill both of them, then it's less of like a Monster Hunter type thing, just because like I hope once they're done with the game, there's a lot of these different types of monsters and stuff like that. 'Cause then you'd really have to balance out which one you want to go after. Because the way you find them is you find these little portals, and it narrows in the map as to where their location is.
It kind of
like,
guides you in that general direction.
So like if you know the area where the spider is or the butcher is, you'd be like, well, I don't really want to fuck with the spider right now because I don't have a gun that's fast enough or something like that. So yeah, that game is pretty interesting as well. I'm having a lot of fun, even like with friend, but also like going in with randoms. It seems like a lot of people, for the most part, are helpful and friendly, and so yeah, it seems cool.
That's good to hear, because when I was playing with people, they didn't seem like they knew what the hell they're doing. Well, I mean, we all didn't, but like
That's the other thing. A lot of people will jump in and not know, but like hopefully you tell them if they don't. If you do. So
also, I love the setting of the game because it's in like a bayou or swamp area, and like it's a lot of like lever action weapons, which I love lever action rifles. So aesthetically, I think it's really cool, and the shooting was really tight, graphically really good looking. I had gotten to like a firefight with this dude like who kept running behind this hut out in this swamp area, and tagged him a couple times, and then finally he stopped coming out. So I think I killed him, because like when I went over there, there's just a dead body over there, so I'm assuming that was him. But it had a good as someone who like really liked DayZ, it the mod, not the standalone, it has a really cool aspect of like obviously there's the random monsters that roam around, and then the big ones you have to fight, but then just knowing that there's other people, it has really good audio as well, because you can hear the reverb of gunshots out in the distance, and as you get closer, you hear it a lot better,
and everything like that is really good.
Yeah.
And
So
some of the small monsters too are really creepy. Like there's this one hive one that has like a disconnected head, and she sends out all these bees at you, and that's terrifying. They just added I forget the name of it, but it's like fucking demon squid or some shit like that. It's in the water, and like it's just tentacles that come up and grab you, and
Damn.
not knowing that was there and hearing the sound of it first, and then turning around and seeing it was fucking terrifying.
That's scary as hell, especially since there's a lot of water.
I say nothing about this game sounds appealing to me.
It's horror themed
Don't
for
lie,
sure.
Chevy. You know you want to play it real bad.
No.
But they do have randomly generated hunter names too, which is neat because you get a different hunter all the time. So you'll get in like, I would say like an example of the type of name you'll get is like Dustin McDonough or something like that. Like it's all like slightly old timey like Westerner names. So
Don't you have to rent them too? Like once your guy dies, you have to spend in-game currency to buy them?
yes,
The new guy?
Yeah, you spend money to get new guys, and the guys that come with more gear and powers are more money. So yeah, there's.
What do you think about that system? Because when I was playing it, I was like, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, like, should I really have to be spending my currency to play the game?
It makes you not want to die, so it's good. Mostly, I've never had any problem buying hunters or gear, but more of it is as your hunters unlock, they unlock more abilities that you can purchase, and that's what really sucks. You're losing. But it seems like the game gives you a lot of money and stuff like that from doing, even if you just go in there and kill a couple zombies and leave, it seems like they give you a decent amount of money, so you could pretty much get in there and do some stuff. And if you don't have enough money to get a hunter, you can get a free one.
Okay, that's good.
It's just going to suck. But
Yeah, I never got to that point, but I was looking at, like, there's, like, really cheap ones, too. So I'm like, even if you didn't have, like, much money, you could still play the game. But, like, at the same time, I was like, how are they going to use this? Because I could see, like, a shitty company, like, something that rhymes with EA. Fucking...
Rhymes with it?
Yeah. It might not be EA. I don't know. Fucking people watching this, they can figure that out. Exploit a system like that. Of going, like, well, you really want that guy who's capable. You might want to... somehow, get
Pulling
that
up some silver coins.
Yeah, exactly.
think of the opposite side of that, though. Like, this is like, I feel like this is something like Kojima would do, where it's like, oh, you ran out of money and all your hunters died? Well, you can't play the game anymore. You lost.
Which would be like the ultimate, like, fucking, like, get better, get good.
Yeah.
It's go buy the game again.
What was that? There was a game.
Imagine that, though, if, like, you ran out of money and all the hunters costed money and you couldn't get money because you didn't have any hunters left. That would be fucking awesome.
There'd be a fucking crazy outcry on that game. And I would respect it in a certain sense.
Comments on that.
There was a game that came out where you had one life.
Yeah, what is it? The culling or something. I don't know if that's the game, but there was some game that was like an early sense of like battle royal games. It wasn't the culling, but it was some other game.
Fucking yeah.
But when you died, it was over.
You couldn't play the game anymore. It literally wouldn't work anymore.
And I think there was also like some kind of end game like apocalypse was going to happen where everybody would die anyway.
Yeah.
And then the whole game like restarted or something. It was really bizarre.
So their weird way of doing seasons or some shit.
Yeah, but like that you're out of the season. Like the game's shut down for you now.
That's so dumb.
Until fucking it restarts.
Stupid.
That's kind of interesting to me. Like, not every game you need to play all the time. Like,
Yeah.
what if
There
there is
better
a
be a
game you can only
$5
play
game.
one
Well-
time a season?
Okay, well, this is fair because obviously we're getting different reactions because I'm like a little in the middle, but at the same time, video games obviously are a commodity. You're buying them, you're paying the money, you're deciding. You should be informed when you buy anything. You're deciding to buy this for whatever amount of money that you think is fair. If you don't think it's fair, you're either gonna go, okay, buy it anyway, fuck it, I don't care about my own morals, or you're not gonna buy it. In a game like that, like, I have to respect in some sense someone doing something different, something interesting, and something that actually is impactful in the sense that, like, you knew what you're getting into, and I mean, you suffer the consequences. Try again next time, and if you can handle that, you can. But like, if you bought that and you got pissed about it, and you knew about it or didn't know about it, that's kind of on you. And even though it's not a game I think I would want to play, I think it's good that people try things as long as they're not exploiting that in some way to get something from you.
Honestly, I'm not even like upset about transparency aspect of that game. It just does not sound appealing to me.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
But yeah.
I think it could be done well. I think that would be kind of interesting. Like, imagine if it was a fucking good game and you could only play it one time.
I don't care how good a game is. I would never spend full price in a game that I couldn't play again.
What if it was a
What if it was free to
mode
play?
that did that in a game that was already really fun?
Oh, what?
Like a mode, like let's minimalize it. You buy a game, you're playing most of the game, and there's a mode that if you die, you're out for like a week or two.
They pretty much have that. That's hardcore mode in most loop games.
and I never play
Except-
hardcore mode.
You know, it's not a
Never.
week. It's just your character's gone forever. But
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not something personally I get into. Like I play games mostly to relax and not get too stressed out about. And like things
Cool.
like that, where like if you die, you're dead, and your character's deleted. Like I can't. That's just too much stress for me personally. So I would never invest in a game that was like focused on that.
Well, for a long time too, like, I mean, obviously in the early days when you're playing console games, like you die, you have to restart the whole fucking game. And that's something that's not very common nowadays in games unless people are going for retro feel. And then games around the time of DayZ and new games like Scum now, you die, that character and all that progress, it's gone. You're dead. And that's something that when I first played, I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy. That sucks. I can't believe all my shit's gone. But it also made you play really fucking good. Like in DayZ, like I was playing like I would in real life because I didn't want to die. Like when I play Call of Duty, it's the opposite effect. I'm like, fuck it, just hit square. I'm gonna respawn. I'm just trying to level up anyway and maybe win. But like when you play a game like DayZ and you get all this good gear, all of a sudden you're like, I need to stay alive. I don't want to lose this character. And obviously a wait time where you're like, fucking, you can't play this game anymore because you fucking died. That would suck. But imagine that in a competitive sense. If a community built around that, obviously you're not going to be feeling that. But as like even an experiment, I mean, like, release that game for fucking free. But like just as an experiment, like how interesting would that be to see people play that game over the course of multiple months? Those people are going to get really fucking good at that game. Because that's a big...
Especially the people who buy multiple copies to keep being able to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, but well, then they're going to waste money on a bunch of fucking times that they're not going to be able to play this game.
They're not wasting. They're going for that esports career. The one time they get to play every season.
I mean, yeah, if they want to spend that kind of money on an experiment like that, but
No,
I'm
that's their choice.
Beside that point,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see people on how they would get better at the game to avoid something that steep of a punishment.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not forever, because that at that point, as an experiment, if it's like $2, it's like see how far you can get. I'd be like, okay, maybe I'll try that. But if it's like a full fledged, like even $20, I'd be like, fuck that. You're gonna lock me out of my own goddamn game I bought from you.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they warn you first, it's your fault, like you said earlier.
For sure.
So, yeah.
For sure. That's why you should always know what you're fucking buying.
Yeah.
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 So, you play anything else or anything else on Hunter or Hunt? Hoedown?
No,
Hoedown.
that's about it.
Yeah.
I have a couple other games from PAX, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, actually, we'll jump into that right now. But before we do that, let us know in the comments, what have you been playing recently? What do you think we should be playing? In the next, I'm on vacation, guys. Fucking tell me what I should be playing. I'll pry myself away from Destiny 2.
Don't tell me shit.
Don't talk to Chevy. Don't even look at him. This side of the screen, fucking, I'm gonna put a big old fucking sensor over there.
Real limited time.
Yeah.
Just pixelate him.
I'm gonna pixelate him, and I'm gonna do that Peanuts Charlie Brown when Chevy talks. I apologize to anyone who's a child watching this because we say fuck a lot, but also because you probably don't get that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Paul, you recently went to PAX, and I'd love to hear about your experience there and what you played. But before we do that, you want to explain to maybe someone who might not be familiar with what that is?
PAX Prime, right?
PAX. I don't think they call it PAX Prime.
West.
Yeah, they've changed the name like 3 times.
Penny Arcade Expo, and it's a video game convention. It started in Seattle, and it was
Home
called
team.
PAX Prime once they created PAX East and PAX South, and I think PAX Australia is a thing now too.
Yeah.
But now they're calling it PAX West. So pretty much it's a 4-day event at the Seattle Convention Center where you get to go there and play a bunch of games and listen to panels, and just a bunch of the gaming community comes and hangs out, cosplayers and all that stuff, and it's a really fun time. So I went there Labor Day weekend from all 4 days, Friday through Monday, and saw a bunch of cool stuff. But yeah, that's about the summary of what PAX is, I guess. It's kind of crazy. Like Fortnite was there in force. They had the whole lower level of this building turned into a mini golf course that was supposed to be like whatever the fuck the mini golf course from fucking Fortnite is called. I don't know. I don't play Fortnite.
They make
so I'm not
enough
too
money,
sure.
man.
Yeah, that's kind of cool to see them doing something like that, though.
Yeah, they had this whole parking lot that was turned into a. There was this huge video screen that they were doing Fortnite tournaments on every night.
Damn.
There was, you know, a lot of the big companies, Sony and Microsoft and whatnot, were there repping their stuff. But also, like PUBG rented out this whole building and had a whole tournament in there, and they turned the whole street into like they had the dune buggy park there and crates.
That's what those pictures I saw were.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
It's cool.
And what I wanted to share with you guys was some of the games. So the thing with this is some of the big games you can line up for fucking 6 hours and stuff like that to check out. And that's not really my style. I lined up for a couple games, but nothing. I would rather walk around and see a lot of the smaller stuff.
What do you know of any of the bigger games that they might have had that you didn't wait for?
Yeah, there was Kingdom Hearts, whatever, 79 or whatever the hell it is.
He's on my team with this one. It's whichever one that one is.
That seemed to be a big one. There was some Final Fantasy stuff going on there, I believe. It's tough to say because like I'm kind of just like have blockers on for a lot of that shit.
It's fair.
It was weird. Like there was a bunch of people lined up for Spider-Man. It's like that game is out in a fucking week, guys. Just wait for it. Come on.
The hype's real.
It was most of the stuff that I was interested in was luckily smaller stuff, like Tetris Effect. Like I was really interested to see that. That game looks fucking awesome. There's that new Justin Roiland game, the creator of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's VR, right?
It's both. It's VR or non-VR.
Okay.
Seems like they're kind of going away from VR. The developer of that, I think, is Crows.
Because when they first showed it off, they were showing off as like a VR game, which was exciting or whatever. But it's good that they're doing both because there's still a lot of people who aren't doing VR.
Yeah, they announced it's going to be for both, and they had both versions running there. I didn't actually play that, but that was just some examples of stuff. But for the stuff that I did play and I wanted to bring up, mostly that I didn't know, and one that I'm really excited about. First thing I want to talk about, though, is Descenders, which is a downhill mountain biking game that's actually early access on Steam and Xbox right now. But I got drawn to it mostly because the soundtrack, they were playing some like dope drum and bass stuff, and it sounded like something my co-host from Broken Dial Radio, Nate, would know. So I was like, what is this? And he's like, oh, well, the dude I was talking to actually worked for, I think it's called Sound Labs up in Vancouver. And he was like, we actually talked to this Danish drum and bass record label, Liquicity, and we got the music from them. So it's all like Liquicity stuff. And I texted Nate that, and he's like, oh my God, I need to see this and everything like that. Because he was, of course, he knew everything about them and whatnot. But so
that's awesome.
Started in the game. But as soon as I started playing it, I was like, oh, this feels really good. It's kind of like behind the back, kind of like a cross between like maybe Trials and SSX Tricky or something like that, So is it like, third person or is it 2D perspective? Third person, or you can go, it's not 2D, it's not side scrolling. It's like 3D, and it looks really good. It feels really fast and everything like that. But so I ended up buying the game while I was there. They were like, oh, it was $5 off the code. And I was like, all right, I'll check this out. But once I got it home, I realized some stuff about this game. It's actually like a fucking mountain bike roguelike game. So the thing is, you start off these levels and you have like 4 lives. And every time you crash into something, you lose a light or energy or whatever you want to call it. But there's this whole map that you have to progress through, and there's multiple routes you can take, and the levels are all procedurally generated, and the challenges are all procedurally generated. So like sometimes they'll be like fucking like it's super steep, and sometimes there'll be like a fuck ton of like stunts and stuff like that you have to do. But the thing is, like, if you die, then you have to go all the way back to the beginning of the map, and I've only made it like halfway through a map because it's fucking hard.
That's kind of cool.
And what killed me last night, what had me like fucking really loving it, was they had there was like a skull in the middle of the map, and I was trying to get to it, like, what the fuck is this skull? And I get there and it was like, defeat the boss jump. So I go through this level, and then all of a sudden there's this huge fucking downward slope, and then this huge ramp, and it's going up over a train track bridge, and there's a ring of fire over. So you have to jump off this huge jump and jump over a train and go through a ring of fire. And it was just like fucking amazing, and it killed me both fucking times.
That's actually kind of a genius. This is what I love about when genres start to get popular, is you start getting shit like that. Like, I would have never thought to, you know, make a downhill
they're not
BMX
even
game.
marketing it like that either. Like, they're just like, oh yeah, it's like a, you
That's
know, it just
weird.
looks like a fucking, like, they don't say anything about the fact that you have lives and you can like die in this
Well,
game.
and the way you're
like,
saying like it's a roguelike, that almost sounds like a boss. Like
Yeah.
like they even said like a boss jump or whatever. Like you can decide to do that or not, but if you do it, hopefully the reward's worth it if you nail it. But
Yeah.
we're just saying you did it.
And,
But
there's like optional like missions where if you do that, you get an extra health tick.
Mhm.
So like you can possibly survive longer and whatnot. It's like, but sometimes it's like do fucking 5 backflips, and if you fuck one of these up, you're probably not. You'll end up losing lives and stuff like that. So it's actually really interesting. But like I said, it's like $25 I think on Steam. I'm not sure how much it is on Xbox, but
couple questions. Is there, when you crash, is there ragdoll?
Mhm.
Okay, that's something I need. And otherwise, I'm just gonna be like, oh man, missed
it's not
opportunity.
like over the top ragdoll. It's not like whoa, but it is like the impact is like fuck, that dude is fucked up. Like when you, because the sense of speed is so good, when you crash into a tree and the dude flies off the bike, you're like fuck.
Okay, that's what I need. Yeah. I don't want the guy to go, oh, and just like, okay, reset. Like I want to see that guy go and like, or just still on the bike go and fall over, or, you know, disappear and restart. Like, oh, you fucked up, go back. Like I need to see that impact. So I go, ooh, God, I don't want to do that again, because it really adds to it. Also, like content wise, you say it's $25. Is it track based? Is it like just an open like mountain that you pick a point from and go down, or is it different bikes, different characters, or anything like
It's
that?
tough to say because I haven't gotten too far in it. There's different bikes you can unlock and gear you can unlock for your, but it doesn't seem to really matter that much as far as the gear. Maybe some of them have stats. I haven't done anything like that yet. But it looks like there's like 4 environments. I've only unlocked one, and it's like pretty much just like grasslands and like you know, go through forests and stuff like that. But the way it's set up is like you start at one. All the levels are like procedurally generated for like the track, but you start at 1, and then it breaks into 2 possible options. Then that breaks into 3, and then like 5. So like it turns into this really big map that you can go to for all the tracks. The tracks are probably between like a minute and 4 minutes long, maybe, or something like that, depending on what. Some of them don't even have like, it's just like kind of like open world, get down to the bottom of this mountain thing.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a lot of game for the price. It seems very well polished for an early access game. It's like I didn't notice any like crazy glitches or anything like that. It seems like I can't think of a, as far as like early access worries, I can't think of a reason not to get this game if you're interested in it at all. Just
It sounds like a game I would like.
Yeah,
for sure. So
I think it's. I would like more people to check it out because, like I did, they have daily challenges too, and I did the daily challenge yesterday. That was actually the one that had the boss jump, and I was like number 12 on it, and I didn't even make it halfway through things. So, you know, if I'm number 12 and I lost, then there's not a lot of people playing the game.
Yeah,
so
that's like what was that game that Danger Zone 2 or whatever. I was like number 1 in the world on one of them. I'm like, that ain't gonna last. The game just came out. Like I bought it like 3 days after it came out, and I played one of the early levels, and I did it a couple times because like, oh, I got a pretty good score. I'm gonna try that again. And then like I looked at the world ranking, and I was number 1. I was like, what? It's like, what? That never happens. I don't even try for that shit. I'm competitive, but not that competitive, because someone's always gonna be better than you. But I guess that's a bad mentality if you're one of those guys who wants to be the best in the world. But I was like, that's not lasting. Someone's gonna fucking beat that instantly.
Is that the like game, the crashing game from the Burnout people?
Yeah, it's exactly that mode from Burnout.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's pretty cool. But I've stopped playing it, so it was fun.
Gotta get your Destiny fix in.
Yeah,
one has loot.
Yeah, one has loot, levels, progression, skill trees. The other one, I'm like, oh, I love like, these games.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, the big game I played there that I did have to line up for was Resident Evil 2 because fucking I love the Resident Evil games.
Yep.
And I'm
very
curious about this remake of Resident Evil 2. And I'm happy to report that it seems fucking awesome. Yes. I waited in line for like 3.5 hours and played it. the section they had you play was the section that was in the first trailer, I believe, where like Leon first gets to the police station,
Yep.
and like meets with the cop and everything like that. But most what I was wondering about is how it felt, because I really liked Resident Evil 7. I thought that game was like my favorite game of 2016, 2017.
Yeah, I
2017.
still haven't beaten
Last
that.
But yeah, I really like the way it feels. It's weird because, or it felt, because it feels like Resident Evil 7, only it's third person. Like,
Interesting.
I felt like that game, when an enemy is coming at you, although the controls are good, it still felt very like, it's not like super like easy to headshot and stuff like that. Like it's a little difficult. And that kind of adds to the tension a lot, because it seems like although the zombies are slow moving zombies and stuff like that, if they're swarming you and you have to like line up these headshots and everything like that, it can definitely get pretty stressful.
I noticed in the gameplay of that too, that they did a really good job on the animations of the zombies, because their heads would move sometimes when someone's trying to get a headshot, and they'd like lean over and stuff like that, and like it wasn't just like they're just walking straight at you, they're shuffling and moving. So, and if you had multiple, it'd be kind of like you said, like stress inducing.
But yeah, it felt really good. The atmosphere was great, and I'm just Resident Evil 2 in my eyes is one of my favorite games of all time, and like having it, like I played through the Resident Evil HD remake, and that was fine and everything like that, but it was mostly like, oh yeah, like this game was really cool when it came out, you know, but like there's so much you gotta like kind of slide through now. But this was just like fucking everything I want. It's like they redid like the fucking cutscenes, and like the acting is good all of a sudden and shit like that.
That was the thing that really blew my mind when I watched the gameplay, is like the voice acting and the guy screaming. He was screaming like he was actually dying. I was like, this is actually like better than a lot of games when it comes to like voice acting. The guy's like, ah! I'm like, wow, okay. He's actually dying.
I need to like watch a side by side of when you meet that cop who gives you the knife from Resident Evil 2 and from the new version, because like I was like, wow, this is like fucking. I could watch a movie of this quality acting. Like it was actually like really good and everything like that. So I am super excited for that game. They gave me a T-shirt. That was cool. That's kind of like the Pax experience though, where like you wait in a line for a long time, play a 15-minute game, and then you get a T-shirt type thing.
Did you sneak into any parties? I have a friend who shout out to Daniel. Him and some of the friends he was with snuck into a Lenovo party, and they got they were printing out shirts with your gamer tag on it.
I did not sneak into any parties.
Yeah.
No.
I saw it was interesting that he did that, but
I saw there was a booth that was doing game jerseys with your gamer tag on it. Like you could make your own custom fucking, you know.
Yeah.
We had a whole joke going on about all of us before we fucking played Rocket League, putting on our gamer jerseys and fucking, you know, getting serious.
Dude, I was kind of jealous when he's talking about that, because like not necessarily because I want something that's a Sleep Division on it or anything like that, but yeah, some kind of Tasty Loot Gaming jerseys would be fucking dope.
Yeah, my whole thing with them is like it's referencing like these pro gaming teams that I don't know anything about. Like I don't know who the fuck Team Liquid is or anything like that.
Yeah, 100%. So, like, I'm with you on that.
It'd be like me getting a fucking New Jersey Nets fucking shirt with my name on it or something like that. Like I don't know anybody on that fucking team.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Even when I was looking into buying a new chair, Secret Labs chair, they have two of them. They're like team based. They're like, this is the fucking fat nuts fucking team fucking chair. I'm like, I've never even heard of them. I don't know what they do. It's orange. I'm like, it looks cool. Looks orange. I don't know who the hell they are. I don't know what they do. Probably Fortnite.
Fortnite.
That's a joke in itself.
Yeah, no, there was just a lot of Fortnite there.
Sounds like it, that whole floor.
Multiple dudes that were cosplaying as a bush.
Oh shit!
You know, like how you get in the bush in that game and everything like that. So that was neat.
Yeah, it's a whole different world for me at this point.
Which is bizarre, because I've been a huge like proponent of like Fortnite before it ever came out. I was hyped on it when I first saw the trailer a long time ago. It came out as exactly what I wanted it to be. I was like, this game's awesome. And then they released Battle Royale, and I'm like, Okay, that's cool. They had that mode. Now that is Fortnite, and I'm
Yep.
just like, that's not my game anymore.
Yeah,
I like a mode
What is it,
that's
Save
in
the
there.
World or whatever they call it.
Yeah, it's fucking bizarre. That's a whole other fucking thing that
Yeah.
doesn't need to be talked about. But
So another game, small game. It's probably my game of the show, and the one I was really into, and definitely want to get once it comes out is NeoCab. It's a indie game from I know the name of the publisher is Fellow Traveler out of Australia, but the name of the Chance Agency is the name of the developer. But I saw a YouTube video of this game in the past, and I thought it looked neat. But playing it really solidified that, because it's sort of like a visual novel, like a question, choose your own adventure type thing. But it's not static images. It is like full 3D, like animated and everything like that. And pretty much the deal is you're Uber driver or cab driver in a like futuristic fucking like cyberpunk type world, and you're new to the city, and there's all these rules you don't understand and everything like that, and you're trying to meet up with your friend because you're supposed to be living with her, and you can't get a hold of her, but you got to go to work. Like that's how the demo kind of started. So it's neat because like pretty much like you pull up this app and in the game, and it's like there's all these people that need rides, so you go pick them up as an Uber driver would, and then everybody you pick up you have a conversation with, and that's what really like started get it. You don't drive the car. It
Okay.
like drives for you and everything.
I was gonna
like
ask
that.
otherwise. Like it sounds like Crazy Taxi with BioWare
But
conversations.
No, you don't drive. It's more of a all speech choice options and stuff, and where you're going to go and things like that. So like to give you an idea of that, the way this works is like the motto of the game is stay human, because all the other cab companies have gone to AI driven cars, and you work for NeoCab, the last cab company that has human drivers. And the reason they're getting rid of them is because humans are too emotional. So you wear a bracelet on your hand that shows your like mood color. So if you get pissed off, then it turns red. So some of the people that get in your car are going to piss you off, and you have to kind of like measure how to react to that through the speech to kind of like keep your like hostility down towards them and stuff like that. So like the first lady I picked up, she like had all this fucking screen stuff all over her face and everything like that, and she seemed really nice, and she was asking me some questions, and I started answering them. And then as the conversation progressed, I found out that she actually was giving me a survey for the company that she works for, and she was asking me questions about like, why don't I like this company, and what could they do to make me want to like this company, you know? And then I realized, because it's a company I used to work for and stuff like that, I was like, holy shit, I'm just talking to this company that I used to work for and giving them all this information and shit. So
Damn, that's interesting.
So I talked to her and I ended up telling her like, no, I'm uncomfortable with that. And she turned it off. And then she was really nice. After she turned it off, she was like, oh, I didn't realize you're new to the city and you didn't know this or anything like that. I'm really sorry about that. And we had like a good conversation. And the thing is, you want her to give you a good rating. So you have to be friendly to these people. But at the same time, you have to balance that out with not getting all pissed off so your company gets mad at you and starts docking your pay and shit like that. So that's kind of like an example. After that ride, I got pulled over by the cops, and they did that whole thing where he was going to give me a ticket, but he was like, mentions the policeman's ball and was like, for a donation, maybe this could get you out of stuff in the future and stuff like that. So of course I gave him that, and he let the ticket go, and fucking pretty much like police bribery. So that was great.
Is this game, is it like a linear storyline game, or is it procedural? Like, are these random encounters?
It's tough to say. There was so many options. I don't think like everybody would get the same things, but it was so well written. I can't say it was procedural. It seems like I don't think I'm giving away too much by saying these little points, because like I feel like it was like a fucking 7-minute demo. Like the game's going to be a lot bigger than this.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up one more thing which really solidified how much I wanted the game though. I picked up this dude who was really creepy, and he was talking about how sad he was, and I like went along. I was like, yeah, fucking life is hell and shit like that. And he all of a sudden he was like totally perked up and everything like that. So we started like just, you know, verbally shitting on everything. And then I figure out that he's a cultist that worships, I forget the name of it, but some fucking like Nidhogg-esque pain worm, and he's like, all of humanity's suffering feeds the pain worm, and eventually, when he gets angry enough, he'll rise and destroy the world and everything like that. So that's his whole deal. And I was like, this game is fucking great. So,
that sounds interesting. It sounds like there's some really cool like balance there between having to decide how to talk with people, but also gauging how you're going to react to it. Yeah.
Yeah. After one of the rides, like I had like 1 bar left in my electric car, and it was like, you can go to the gas station on this side of town, but it's going to cost you more because it's owned by this company, or you could try to make it to your next route and maybe get gas after and shit like that. It's all kind of like choices like that. But the thing that made it cool was how like realized the world was, and it looks really fucking cool too. Check out a video. It's kind of like a weird like cell shaded animated art. It looks fucking neat. So definitely recommend that.
What was it called again?
Neocab.
Neocab.
And they said they're not sure when that's coming out yet. They're still working on it, but it should be next year probably.
Okay, I know some of the games at PAX. I mean, obviously you said like Spider-Man, but some of the games they showed off there were already out or coming out very soon too, which was kind of cool because it's already like a convention, so you're getting people hyped on games that they haven't maybe heard of or whatever, or giving them a chance to play it, and it's coming out in like a week or whatever. Because I know. One of the games Daniel was talking about, I think it's The Messenger or whatever, I think released around the same time they were showing it at PAX. So it's kind of a cool way to...
that was at the Devolver booth. The Devolver booth is really cool. They had a bunch of cool shit. They have a lot of games that have been out already. Like Strafe has been out for a couple of years, and they had like a couple units with that running and stuff like that.
Did they have the Pedro game?
Huh?
Did they have that Pedro game? My friend Pedro?
Yep, they had My Friend Pedro, and the other new one that's like a side-scrolly journey type game. It's like Faye or something like that.
Oh, I haven't heard of it.
They're getting busier and busier.
I think they're the ones that did Scum too, or they didn't make it, but they published it. Yeah,
or published. Yeah,
because Devolver's a publisher, but they definitely had a bigger booth than in the past. This time around, My Friend Pedro does look dope, but I didn't get to play that.
Yeah, I really want to try that.
Capcom had like Street Fighter V running around the corner from Resident Evil. Like, if they might as well, have some of these stuff because people are still going to play it. You got to play like they had some of the fighting community people there, and like things like Dying Light had their new mode. They were doing tournaments for the new mode, the like Battle Royale style thing that they're doing. So like, I would have liked to get to check that out, but I didn't. But
is that out, that mode, or is it coming out?
It's not out yet.
Okay, for some reason I thought it came out like already. Like a month ago.
A trailer for it like a month ago.
Yeah.
On IGN. It was
we watched something on it.
But that seems kind of neat too.
Yeah. I really like Dying Light, so I would definitely want to go back to that.
What I didn't expect to get to try out, but did. Sometimes PAX is kind of magical with not having to wait in lines. I don't know how this worked, but we were walking by the Sony booth, and I was like, "Oh, Dreams is over here," and there was a bunch of people playing Dreams. And the lady was like, "Oh, do you want to play it?" I was like, "How long's the line?" She's like, "There's an open one there." So she just like pulled back the fucking tape and was like, "All right, I guess we're playing this now." So we got to play Dreams, and I didn't mess around with the creative elements of it at all, but they had like 6 different of the things that have been created for it, and that game seems really fucking cool. Like each of those things were so different. There was like a flight sim dogfight thing. There was like a little co-op third person like action adventure game. There was like a weird one-on-one, I think it was called Hammer Time or something like that, where you gotta like hit balloons or soccer balls into the other person's goal with a hammer. It was like there was a lot of neat stuff in there. But probably my favorite one was this one called Please Hug Me, I think it was. So you're this robot that's on a fucking platform, and there's all these triangles near you, and as you have your hands outstretched, and as you go towards them, they all move away from you and fall off the platform, and eventually they all fall off the platform, and the camera like zooms out, and it gets all lonely and dark and gray, and then the game ends. I was like, yeah. So like it was a good showcase of like you can do like an emotional like fucking story game. You can do like a flight sim. You can do all this different shit in it. Like I've seen some videos on how they do that, and it seems cool. I don't know how good that feels yet because I didn't get to check that out, but I'm definitely excited for that way more than I was.
Well, that's really good to hear, because when they first showed it off and kind of talked about the idea of it, I found it really intriguing, and it kind of made a lot of sense for Media Molecule to be doing that because of fucking Little Big Planet and the creative tools, which really took off and people went crazy with. So for them to make a game that's basically that, but making it as like a dreamscape where you're going from one thing to another, was really cool. But then at like E3, they had like these little intermissions that would just show these little things from it.
Intermissions,
yeah, but like nothing really. So I'm like, so what's going on with this fucking game? And so you saying you played it, I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't even know it was playable.
At least
like,
they're still doing something.
Like that's awesome to hear. I'm glad that you had a good impression of it because I was stoked on it, and then I was like, where to go? What happened to it? Was it just a dream?
What I'm most excited about it is they've like said like you can create all the music in the game.
Really?
In the game for these games as well, so they have their whole own like fucking music creation workshop and everything.
That's
like that
cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty fucking robust too. So I definitely want to fuck around with that.
Yeah, I mean, like this whole game is being built to create with, which is really interesting because you could already do some really crazy things in Little Big Planet, and now they're just going into it, going, this is a game of creation.
Now there's no game attached. Now it's just here's a creation tool for whatever strikes your fancy.
I mean, I think I watched a video where they were showing you can like create assets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like you can make your own stuff. It's not just like, oh, use our tools, like, which is insane.
Yeah,
because you're gonna get some really cool things. Like that's a game that I'm almost afraid to get.
Dicks though, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, at least everything I'm gonna make is 95% dicks.
Chris's Dick World. Welcome.
It's gonna put
this is
my
dream
to shame.
Yeah. Welcome to my dreams.
Those are the big ones I wanted to shout out. I have 3 really quick shout outs I wanted to bring up. UFO 50. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's by Monksmouth, Derek Yu, the creator of Spelunky. But what he did is got a bunch of his developer friends all together to make little retro style mini games. So there's 50 games in it. They're all like fucking kind of like if you ever seen one of those 99 games in one fucking plug into your TV things.
Oh yeah.
WarioWare.
Like
it's kind of like WarioWare.
Yeah, WarioWare-esque. But the games all seem to have like something about them that makes them weird. Like there was like a Smash TV style like or Enter the Gungeon or whatever you want to call it, where you like shoot in different directions and fucking. But the thing of it was 2-player and only one person played because before the round you're like you each add like more enemies or like less guns or less bullets or less life or something like that to make it more difficult. And you kind of like poker, you pass it back and forth. Like I'll see your 5 bullets and raise you 2 bullets, or something like that. And you keep going until somebody is like, nah, you can't do that, and hits the go button. So then they have to do it. So like you pretty much like fuck over the other person, and if they beat it, then they get the points, and you guys go back and forth like that.
Oh, that's cool sounding.
That's an interesting concept.
That was just one of these 50 games. They all have like something weird about them, where it's not just like a standard like mini game.
That already makes me want to buy it. If there's like 50 into, because those kind of games like. And obviously that's not WarioWare, but it reminds me of it in the sense of like WarioWare is just all these like micro 10-second games. And I love it because the variety is there and it's like always a fun game to play with other people. So like, I don't know, that's a really neat idea that they just made a bunch of like mini games essentially.
Yep. That seemed cool. There was this game Soundfall, which is pretty much the same thing as Crypt of the Necrodancer, except co-op and in 3D.
So better.
Crypt of the Necrodancer is pretty cool, but playing it with friends, it would fucking be awesome.
I would say co-op makes most things, unless they do it really bad, better, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just don't know if they could do online for that because it's so dependent on the timing of the music.
Yeah.
And doing that online with other people could be very difficult.
Oh, definitely.
So I don't know how that will be, but it was fun to play there. And then lastly, there was this game, The World Next Door, which is kind of a... kind of like a visual novel dating sim thing, it almost seemed like, but which is way more like the still of a character and text at the bottom of the screen. But the thing was, the gameplay of it is actually like a tile-based match 3 fighting game thing, where like you move around in 3D from a top-down view on these tiles, and you move the tiles around, and when you stand on 3 or more of the same color, you can activate a power-up and shoot the enemy in the room. So you're moving around these worlds, and it's a really neat puzzle game, and the story and the characters and the art all seemed cool too. So that's the world next door. Yeah, that's my notable games from PAX that I wanted to share with you all.
That's cool. They all sound like those are, unless those are the only games they had, but like those all are good picks because they're all super unique and definitely things that you'd want to keep an eye out for because like most of those sound really interesting. I mean, I'm still thinking about that fucking bike game. So
yeah, it's definitely what I kind of like. I was there for 4 days. I saw a lot of games, but like, I mean, I can't talk about like all the first person shooters I played because eventually it's just gonna be like, yeah, it's like you press the left trigger to pull out your gun, and then press the right trigger.
Wait, is there first person shooters coming out though? Because like it seems like there's only like 3 right now. So I'm excited for that.
But yeah, there's definitely stuff I forgot about, like that fucking duck game, Untitled Swan game.
So is PAX worth going 4 days for?
Probably don't have to. But if you're into going to panels, like that's the thing. What I normally do is figure out stuff I want to the schedule for the panels and figure out at least 1 or 2 that I want to go to each day. So that way, like, do that, and then the rest of the time you're at the show floor. Because some of the things are only going to be on certain days, and when you buy the tickets, they sell out immediately. So you don't know what day what you're going to want to is. So that's most of the reason why I've bought it all 4 days. But you can totally like, I would say 2 days, because 1 day you kind of need just to like get your feel for where everything is and everything like that, and find out what you want to do, and then the next day go there immediately and fucking line up for it if there's something you want to stand in line for, or fucking because it's huge and there's stuff going on all over the city too. Like even without the badge, there's places you can go without paying for PAX. Like some of the hotels will have stuff going on and stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's funny that this reminds me. This can be kind of a weird example, but like Disneyland, you can do in 1 day.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, you should probably do 2.
Yeah, I mean, unless you go there all the time and just like are stopping by to ride a couple rides and leave, like you should definitely kind of take it in.
Yeah, truthfully, 4 days is pretty tiring. Like I wasn't staying there the whole time, all 4 days. Like I got to go home and like fucking eat dinner and things like that. You know, like I definitely wouldn't tell people to go there and just stay there the whole time. But some people fly in the whole time and love it. So.
Yes, I've never been, and I should by now. But there's people obviously who will just like buy those tickets as quick as possible because they're keeping track of it. And I never am like, someone be like, oh, PAX tickets, fucking, they're sold out. I'm like, shit, I didn't even know they went up. Like I'm real bad about paying attention to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I pay attention on Twitter, but truthfully, there was a couple people that didn't have tickets for some days, and like it's all over Craigslist and stuff like that. And there's like honest people who just like, I can't make it this day, so I want to give it to somebody good. There's definitely also scalpers that suck, but there's ways to get tickets after you miss the original sale. And Monday was on sale even while it was going on. They still had Monday badges available.
Yeah, a deal like that would be kind of probably less demanding for obvious reasons, but
it was a little bit slower.
Yeah,
and they shut down early. They close at I think 5 or something like that, as opposed to like whenever they normally close everything up.
Makes sense.
Because they have concerts going on till like midnight and shit.
Oh, do they? That late?
Oh yeah. Well, it's like a concert.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Like you were saying, a lot of the parties going on till the bars close.
Those Lenovo parties, where you get your custom
jersey,
big nuts, or the hell jersey, where the fuck that team is.
A lot of the parties you need the PAX badge to get into them, but they invite fans. Like Bungie has their thing, and Microsoft has their thing, and all that shit.
I've known other people who have essentially just walked into those things, so I think it's actually pretty common where they're just like, whatever, like come on in, fuck it.
I know, like DE, even for
it's good PR too. People are gonna talk about it.
TennoCon, they'll tell you what bar they're gonna go to.
Yeah,
so
I want to hang out with DE. Be like, hey, where's
your passport?
Where's my free shit?
Get drunk with Space Mom.
I don't want to get drunk with Space Mom because fucking I'll be like, what's up? What's up, Space Mom?
Seth's now Space Stepdaddy.
I'll be Space Daddy. Yeah, that's fine. Anything else about PAX you want to share?
Yes, but I've taken up enough time.
I'll say it because we got another thing to get through. So yeah, if there's anything else you want to throw out there, that's fine. Anything you guys want to say too about stuff related to PAX?
I've heard lots of weird stories about PAX, but it's
Ooh.
not really relevant.
Anything interesting, weird?
I've just heard that people tend to get really, really drunk and really, really frisky at PAX.
That's conventions.
That's conventions, man. Yeah, fucking anime
remember those
conventions. People are
cosplayers?
creeps.
Oof.
Yeah, I feel bad for cosplayers.
Anyone in
man.
a fucking furry outfit too. I mean,
I
no,
had no problem. When I went
will
to
say-
Emerald City Comic Con in full costume and had no problem.
not even one.
I've heard horror stories from SakuraCon. So
Yeah, I've heard some fucking crazy shit. What was that convention? It was like a furry convention where someone let off like a gas bomb.
oh, fuck if I know.
They had to like call in like the SWAT team and shit.
I'm not surprised it's for a convention. I just didn't know about any of them.
I'm not trying to talk shit. I mean, there's fucking people in that stuff. That's cool.
Sure, I
But
just don't know about them.
But I always hear, and maybe because it's just the topic, but I always hear fucking crazy stories from those kind of conventions.
At PAX a couple of years ago, at one of the kind of funny related panels, they turned on a fog machine, and apparently the hotel flipped out, and they had to evacuate the room and have the fire department come and everything like that. Oops. So there's this
Miller
whole
would do
story.
Yeah.
Now I have a shirt that says "Turn on the fog machine."
It's dangerous. Gonna overfill that room with fog. I hate that at concerts, so I'm sitting there just going, just breathing that shit in. Ugh. All right. Well, anything else? Oh, Chris, what's the story? Fucking tell me something weird. Frisky.
That's
Anything
just what I've
particular?
heard, is that people get weird and frisky.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that happens. Some really gross shit happens too. People, invade people's personal space, do fucking.
I'm drunk.
Really
I'm
gross
somewhere
shit.
where I don't know people.
I'm
Here's my
wearing something I
excuse
can't be
to
identified with.
Fucking awful.
Yeah, it's shitty. It's gross. Keep your
I
hands to
can
your fucking
assure you,
self,
we
right?
didn't get frisky. We did get drunk, but we did not get frisky. We're very boring.
That's my MO. So
I mean, I get frisky, fucking, but with people who want to get frisky, so it's all good there. I'm not fucking. Hey, what's up? I like this outfit you got on.
I'm more like
You don't know me, but
fucking
you're gonna.
Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. I'm just like trying to get drunk in the corner, and then like people watch, and that's it.
Nah, man, I'm goddamn wild. Goddamn, I like to party. Yeah. So, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah,
I need to go. I want to go. Every year I'm like, I gotta go, and then I'm just like, tickets went. They're fucking they goed.
I don't think
That's
I'm
word right.
patient enough to go to something like that. Someone
Oh,
bump into me while I was walking, I'd immediately get mad, and I'd be like ready to yell at them. And
Damn, you're the problem at cons. You guys
probably.
fucking. I'm gonna kill everybody. I'm like, okay,
Even
and they call the SWAT team in.
Even the biannual trip, it's become for me and Trishelle to go to Disneyland. The whole time, I was like months of me mentally preparing myself not to yell at people.
What's 4 times annual? Quad annual?
Yeah.
You guys doing that soon?
Why would it be 4 when it's every 2?
Go 4 times a year, not 2.
No, once every other year.
No, I'm saying go 4 times
I'm
a
not
year.
going once
You're not understanding
a year.
me. She would love it.
She
you
would.
gotta do it.
I wouldn't.
All right. So
my
last
fucking
thing
hair
we're
out.
gonna discuss is we did a video for the channel, probably the video.
Yeah, that never happened.
Yeah. Been largely successful for us, which has been awesome. Still getting subscribers from that, so welcome to the channel if you are joining us from that. We watched the 48-minute video for Cyberpunk 2077. We fucking loved it.
A little.
Yeah, we talked about it. We got a lot of people in the comments talking on that one. That was amazing. That video is going towards like 40,000 views right now, which is insane.
Yeah, I had to give up on keeping up on it. I had to be able to
I'm
do other
dude,
things,
I'm
so.
still in there, and whatever comments YouTube lets me know exist, I'm trying to comment on every single one. So, and I will try that until, everything's been answered or talked about. So,
That's awesome. I didn't know that video got so many views for you guys.
oh yeah, no, it's huh?
Just so I can understand, are most of the comments like they like you guys or they hate you guys?
Oh,
Like
99.8% positive. Some of the most insane comments I've ever seen. Like people are
That's really
saying
cool.
our reaction is the best reaction they've seen for Cyberpunk out of like 7 people they've watched. Some dude said we were like the best reaction he's seen to anything ever, which I was like, Jesus. There's a couple dickheads. There's some guy who called us like hillbilly hipsters, which is the dorkiest shit I've ever heard in my life. If you're watching this and you call us hillbilly hipsters, that's so fucking dorky. Why would you say that? It's not even a thing.
I'm just confused.
Yeah, it's dumb. I read that and I was like, really, dude? What the fuck? Are you 10?
Yeah, there's always people. These guys must be from Minnesota or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, but whatever. And then the other guy below him was like, that was a different video, I think. But
was it?
That whole video is a blur. There's like almost 500 comments on the thing.
Hundreds of comments.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been amazing, and that we're getting that. I mean, just so everybody knows, because this is exciting for us on the channel.
Even though I never visibly show it.
From like a year, our most viewed video was in a year got up to like 16,000 views, which is amazing. I was like, that's amazing. And then our newest most viewed video in a month was at like 19,000. I was like, wow, it was really quick. We got to fucking like 22,000 views on that fucking Cyberpunk video in like days. I was like, this is this is insane. So it's huge growth for us. We've got new subscribers from it, like a shitload, which has been amazing. And we're still getting them, so it's awesome.
A couple new people in the Discord as well. So
yeah, which is really cool. So huge growth for the channel. I mean, we went from like 582 subs to we're on our way to 900 now. Yeah. We're almost at 900, which is insane. So 1,000 seems super doable now. Anyway, without all that, thank you guys for partaking in that video. I'm glad you guys liked it, and thank you for subbing. But that conversation is going to continue because like a lot of you guys in the comments, let me know all these details about the game, because we just watched that video and that was about it. I've been watching videos on, I've been reading about Cyberpunk, and I want to discuss, there's a lot of mystery to this game. We didn't even see it for a long time. It finally dropped. We loved what we saw, but there's a lot going on in that fucking video too. And there's a lot of information that's not being conveyed. And it's just so packed full of visuals and detail and all that stuff that I've done a little bit of research to see what has been confirmed, what this game's going to do, what kind of features it's going to have, mechanics, stuff like that, and a couple speculative things as well. Before we jump into that, though, obviously you guys know me and Chevy are huge we're super hyped on this. We played the pen and paper game. We love Cyberpunk as a genre, all that shit, and we had nothing but great things to say about it. I believe you guys, neither of you have seen the 48-minute video.
I watched half of it.
Okay. And Paul, you haven't.
The Hillbilly Hipsters review of it, but no, I haven't seen the video. I am excited for the game, but I'm trying.
That's the channel's new name.
Temper the hype a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems really cool though.
Yeah, and especially because it's going to come out like at the very least a year from now. Like it is smart to like dial back the hype on it.
God, that's hard for me to agree with, just because you want to see a game's pre-alpha footage that looks better than completed games. I mean,
well, for that game, I'm saying in general, as a philosophy.
I just think
because Josh is the same. He doesn't like to watch trailers for games.
No, yeah, I know. It's in fact, that's what reminded me of when Paul said that.
Well, I like to watch trailers. Like I would watch like a fucking 2-minute trailer for the game, but
not like a full playthrough.
Minute gameplay video. Normally, I'm not gonna watch more than a 15-minute gameplay video,
which is fair.
It's closer to, you know how Rockstar does their trailers where they sit there and they break down everything,
but not for 48 minutes.
Yeah, not for 48 minutes, but that's what they're doing. So.
Yeah,
you could probably find a shortened version though.
Yeah, or highlights or whatever. He said he's seen a little bit on it.
And I listen to a lot of gaming podcasts, so I've like heard a lot of people talk about it and whatnot. It's definitely something that I'm interested in.
Yeah. Any history with the pen and paper? Either of you, have you guys played it at all?
Not Cyberpunk, no. But from what I understand, the game isn't only focused on the Cyberpunk franchise. It's also like a bunch of other, because it's an open world game pretty much. Like,
right.
You get all aspects of Cyberpunk, everything in it pretty much,
Yeah.
It seems like it's like a love letter to Cyberpunk in general, the genre.
Yeah. Well, they are working with Mike Pondsmith, who's the creator of it. And a lot of the technical systems in the game, they have left some of them out, like stats, I think like attractiveness, stuff like that. They have left out of the game, but they've actually said, and this is actually in my notes, they've actually said that even though they're not in the game right now, they still will add those in the game if they think it's worth it. So like they're not even like to the point where like this is the game. Like they're still
I can
adding.
seduce everybody with my robot body.
Yeah, I mean you could if they added that. So you guys are both interested in it. Paul said he's interested in it. Chris, you're interested in it. You said you watched a little bit of it.
I watched half the trailer.
Any general thoughts on it?
I'm excited because this is not a genre I've ever delved too deep in, the cyberpunkiness. But I've always been interested in it.
What do either of you think about it being a first-person action RPG? What's your opinion on that?
Totally cool with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of curious how it will control. So I'm trying to think of a first-person CD Projekt Red game that I've played, and
They just haven't made them.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like for me, before the game was shown off, I was like, "How's this gonna play?" They don't really have a pedigree of working on first-person shooters.
And Witcher 3, when it came out, like it's highly praised now, but when it came out, like a lot of people complained about the controls of that game.
Yeah.
And like they ended up putting out a PAX to kind of fix his run animation and stopping and starting and stuff like that. So I'm just real curious how it will feel. Like obviously it looks good and the setting seems awesome and everything like that, but you know, how's it gonna feel?
I believe they have someone working with them for the controls, who was a Counter-Strike Pro player. So he's actually helping them fine-tune the controls of the game now.
As far as first person, that doesn't bother me at all. Sometimes it seems really cool. Like I played through fucking Grand Theft Auto 5 all in first person.
Damn,
that
did
was
you?
Probably not supposed to happen. But like when you go into buildings, like those games are so well detailed. Like when you go into buildings, it's like you could see all the little shit on the bookshelves and stuff like that in first person that you kind of miss in third person. So
Yeah. No, it's more immersive in that way. I thought it was amazing when they added, even though I definitely didn't beat the game in first person, but I played 5 in first person a little bit, and I was like, this game was in third person, and it's detailed like a first person game would be. Like, they've really put some fucking work into this game that it translates over to first person pretty well. Like, you get in a car, and you're like, wow, this is all detailed. That's weird.
yeah.
Yeah. Chris?
First person RPGs like this always like the first thing I can think of that I have the most experience with is like Skyrim or Fallout. So I enjoy those games
examples?
a lot. What?
Sorry.
What?
Nothing.
What?
The
fuck did you say?
Immensely. So the fact that it's first person is going to be nice. Like they said in the trailer, it's going to make it seem more immersive. Your point of view, and you can kind of control everything from that. And in the trailer, when the eyeball switching happened, it really grossed me out because that's like,
Oh, I loved it.
bothers me the most. But it was also crazy at the same time that you could see like once the eye was connected, the world around it from that eye. It was really cool.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because it's probably been one of the only things that's been a point of contention in the hype of the game. If it is people going, oh, I love it, or they're going like, well, why couldn't it be third person? They still want the game. Like anyone who's hyped for this game or talking about it, they're excited for it. But I've been seeing in our comments and other comments, people going like, oh, I would have preferred it being in third person, more like The Witcher, blah, blah, blah. So I just kind of wanted to gauge where you guys are at when it comes to that decision, because of course I'm for it. I play a lot of first person shooters already. Obviously this is an RPG, but that point of view makes sense to me. And I also really appreciate that when you make a first-person shooter, those are typically some of the best-looking games that exist because they have to be, because you're right there.
You're in it.
You're looking right at everything up close, so it has to be good-looking.
Right.
And I believe, I mean, you didn't seem like you had any issues with it.
I don't care one way or the other.
Yeah.
I didn't have an expectation either, though, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying other people did or they're wrong in liking other game types.
Yeah.
I just, when they said they were making something that wasn't The Witcher, I wasn't also expecting The Witcher again. I was expecting a new IP.
Well, I remember I
and
read
that's what they were
somewhere
doing,
too, somebody was like, well, if this is third person, it would just be a reskinned Witcher. I'm like, no, that engine's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a way more advanced game.
Way more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, you know, I'm playing Destiny 2 currently as an example, and even going back, I think it's funny he used Skyrim. I was giving you crap for that because I'd probably even say, you know, a better Elder Scrolls example. I'm going to get killed for this one, but Morrowind.
It's the best one.
So.
That's the best Elder Scrolls. Fucking don't at me.
But that is more of a role, like expansive role playing game in first person. So
Yeah, shit. I'd say actually they should just put the whole thing in VR only and fucking.
Oh god, I'd love it in VR.
I can't afford that computer, man.
My wallet does not appreciate your comments.
Just scrap the PC version or whatever.
You have
just
offended my
VR
wallet.
Only. That's the way to go.
You know,
Yeah, no,
while
I
they're
would
at it,
love
they might as
that.
well just sell it in a VR headset, proprietary to that game, because it's probably going to cost me the same.
And then you do VR in that game in VR.
What?
There you go.
There's
Super hot.
VR. They're putting headsets
In
on.
the game.
That's the future, dog.
You just use the VR for all the hacking stuff only. You're like, oh, time to do the hacking part.
I'm not. That's too much work. That helmet comes off or stays on. Doesn't know. I'm not switching that shit out. This isn't Johnny Mnemonic. We're not putting fucking sunglasses on. It's a weird reference.
It'd be a lot. Yeah, it is a weird reference.
I forgot that movie existed. It just came out from the back files at the back of my brain. Just fucking. That's a reference. Yeah. So I was going to go through some of these details that I have found out about the game.
Okay.
I'll try and be very clear whether this is something that was confirmed or if this is something people are talking about. Also, if I get something wrong, please let me know in the comments. What the truth of the matter is. Let me know also anything. There's so much information that's coming out about this game that I'm going to miss a lot of it. So definitely let me know in the comments stuff we need to know, stuff you want us to talk about. All that stuff. Let's have a conversation about this. But yeah, so in no particular order, I just got a bunch of notes here. I'm going to throw them out there. We'll talk about them. So one thing I got is the game is playable from beginning to end already. So they've already completed that aspect of the game. But there's a lot more work to be done. They said that skills, they're not in the game right now, may stay out of the game or be added later if they think the game will be better for it. So I already kind of mentioned that before. But you can play this game from the beginning of the game to the end already. This game still has easily a year of work on it, though. So I think it's really interesting in the sense that they already have the skeleton of the game made. And that just gives them more time to build onto a game that I already think is super fucking detailed already. So that gets me really hyped, just knowing that amount of work they've already put into the game, there's still more they're going to be adding to it. Where I feel like we're getting a really densely packed game here.
Yeah.
A lot of that time would probably be polish and fixing bugs and glitches and stuff like that too.
Especially
right?
in an open world game.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the testing like that has to be. How many people they have to have play the shit out of that game to find hopefully everything that's broken on it,
Yeah.
and how much they have to fix. So.
Especially with routes and missions and conversations as well. There's a lot of parameters there.
Yeah, I keep no fucking expert when it comes to game design, but I can't imagine. I would imagine hopefully, developers have the game ready around a year before it's released, just so they can work on getting it polished and fixed and bug free and shit like that.
Yeah. I emphasize a year though, only because that's like the soonest the game will come out, and they've emphasized that this game does not have a set date. It will come out when they think it's done. They want the single player experience of the game to feel complete and finished. No, it's not gonna, they don't want it to come out and go, well, where's this at? Like it's
If
supposed
somebody
to be done.
stole that game and put it. If somebody like stole that game and like you could download it right now, would you just play through it?
No. I wouldn't
Hold
touch
off?
it. Yeah. There'd be a lot of people who would, and there'd be a lot of people posting shit about it.
I would be.
Yeah, but I don't want to play just because CD Projekt Red I have such respect for, and I know the quality that they make with their games that I want that fucking finished product as it's intended to be.
It's different for me because if you would ask me for like 5 years ago, I probably would have said yes. But I've such a backlog of games right now that it doesn't matter. Like it'll come out and I'll buy it then.
If I downloaded it and wanted to play it, I wouldn't get around to it for like a year.
I don't have time.
So it's a time thing for you. Now for me, I want that game to be exactly what's supposed to be.
Sure, but
I've played games in early access plenty. Fucking, it works out sometimes.
You get something, and in this case, he's talking about obviously a pirated, fucking development version of the game.
Doing CD Projekt Red wrong. That's what he's talking about.
Sure, but
you don't do CD Projekt Red wrong
in this hypothetical situation. You playing that, and then if you play that and you come out of that going, well, they're fucking it up. The game isn't done, right? You're getting a taste. It's like someone was making you some food and they hadn't even seasoned it yet or added part of the ingredients.
The pork
and you're
hasn't
like,
been
"Oh,
cooked
yeah,
yet,
that
and you're
looks good."
complaining about the fucking
God, this is awful.
the
I
E.
can't
coli
believe
you
you're
got.
going to serve this to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would totally, if I had time. I don't have time.
Play an early version of that game. My own
No
brother.
different than beta testing.
My own brother. I guess. I watched an early version that wasn't a beta test of the Resident Evil movie back in the day. Pirated it. I'm admitting that, and it didn't have CGI in it yet, and you could see like microphones on screen and
showed
shit.
me that, yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm bringing that up is because that first off, that shit was illegal. It's not the same as a beta. Secondly, and it's a movie too. Secondly, it looked like shit.
I'm gonna beta test this movie.
It looked like shit. It was awful. So fucking why the hell you trying to just get in there early? Like you were saying with the cooking thing. You're trying to bake a cake. You're in there fucking dipping your fingers in the fucking dough.
That's what I'm saying.
cookies,
Your
not cake.
expectations need to be at what you're doing.
You just need to wait. You need to fucking wait till the shit's
I'm
done.
disagreeing with that.
Yeah, I think there's some people who would like, that's the whole reason I bring it up, because it seems like the hype for this game, and it's understandable too, because it seems like a cool fucking game, but just like balancing that out in my head of people spoiling a good experience for themselves because they can't wait for something is like what's interesting. I feel like same thing as like people telling them how they should make the game that nobody has played yet. And shit
Yeah,
like that,
I always
you know?
have pet
Like,
peeves with that. Like, it's fine to have opinions or whatever, or what you want from it, but when you're
Or
like,
what I
this
like in
needs
a
to be
game,
like
yeah.
this, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
you haven't even touched it. Or you're like, this game's bad, and it's like, the game isn't even out. You
Right.
couldn't know that.
yeah.
Chris, any thoughts on that?
But just the fact that it's a year out or more, I think it's great that they've got like a beginning to end to it, and they're like, we're not ready to release this within the next year or so. Like
Yeah.
that just shows that they're dedicated to making it the perfect game in their eyes of how they want it to pan out, which is really great. They're not pressured to release something half cocked like a lot of other companies do, and then here's 97 updates later, and here's the game as how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
How we
here's
wanted it to be.
year 2. The game is what it was supposed to be when it released.
Well, that polish time is super important because, like, you look at a good example.
Polish time. This
The
game is
Polish
being
time.
made in Poland.
Call of Duty used to be on a 2-year development cycle, and now it's on a 3-year development cycle. And specifically with Black Ops 3, you could see the extra year they put into the game.
Yeah, they put shit in there they didn't have to.
Not that it's a weird comparison to use, but it's something that's easy to see
Please
a
don't,
track record.
Please don't compare the two games.
No, it's
'cause
but it's easy.
People will eat us alive.
It is a development track record, is what I'm saying. Is like that game was on a 2-year cycle, and when it switched to a 3-year cycle, because they're not making a new engine for that game, they're just building features.
Yeah,
and throwing
that's
it
just a
in
lot
there,
of
right?
assets being built.
There was
and
another
mechanics.
year they got to make gameplay features,
Right.
so you got a lot more content for $60. That's all I was
sure.
saying.
Yeah.
So
I just don't want them coming with the pitchforks and the fucking torches. Heathens!
you don't have to fucking like the game at all. I don't play them. I played that one.
I hate all games. That's why this channel exists.
That's right.
That's right. Next little tidbit I got is first person was decided for full immersion to take in the characteristics of the world and be down in the streets. Mike Pondsmith saying you perceive the world differently from first person perspective, feeling more involved, hearing conversations, seeing things out of the corner of your eye, and situational awareness is too big in third person. He thought it was tactically unfair to be able to see around your character. It feels better when people are like, rushing in the room, and like if you have an augment, you can see them coming through the walls. And if you didn't have it, you wouldn't see that. He wants it to feel like you're standing in that room versus standing behind the person. Yeah, he doesn't want you to see all threats coming for a more tactical view, which, this is something we kind of speculate on a bit when we watch the video anyway, because, that's just a fact. It is more immersive typically when you're playing first person. I do think it's interesting, though, he's talking about it from a gameplay perspective as well. He doesn't want you to have that, like when you play a game like a shooter and you're playing in third person, everybody needs to be playing third person. Otherwise, it's unfair, because in third person, you see way too much. There's, games years ago I would play that you could choose to be in first person or third person. You always pick third person. Now it's just always like set to, this is the first person server, this is the third person, because You can see around rocks. You're laying in grass. You can see above it from their
Honestly,
perspective.
you do
you're not
that,
seeing
that weird camera trick all the time too, where you're like,
Yeah.
every time I think it looks funny because it looks like you're like staring at the ground,
Yeah.
but you're actually staring at the corner of the screen.
That's something that still exists in games, and I've been using it since like fucking Quake. But if you pull the screen down from the corner because of the FOV curvature, you can see things almost magnified up there. And I'll do it a lot. Yeah, you're right. I do that. Because I'm like, I'm blind. I want to see over there. Yeah, so anything you guys want to add to that? We kind of already covered that a bit.
No, I just think it's a valid point to make, for the decision process, and I can respect it. So
yeah.
Yep.
Full day and night cycles with good and bad weather will be included in the game, which is something that you'd probably expect from an open world game, but that includes stuff like acid rain. So they were talking about storms coming in and stuff like that. So that is cool. Some games kind of, even to this day, do keep it basic when it comes to open world. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. The sun comes up, the sun goes down.
Right.
So very, very cool. Feel free to just jump in as I knock these out. Mike Pondsmith thinks, I emphasize thinks, the game will take after the pen and paper game, and day and night cycles will change the people and threats. He was asked about this in an interview, and they're like, "Will nighttime be different than daytime?" And they were talking about people in their day jobs will be at home during the night, which makes sense. But he said in the pen and paper game, the streets get way more dangerous at night, and he was saying that they followed what he has created in pen and paper so closely. He does think that will be the case in the game itself, which will be interesting because he brought up the point of like all these people going to like all the business people are going to be in the streets during the day doing their thing, going to their jobs. And at night, there's going to be more criminal element out there, so you're going to be running into more things. And even games like Elder Scrolls kind of has that. You'll be walking down a trail and some asshole who's dressed like a fucking...
Give me your sweet rolls.
Yeah, give me your sweet rolls. They always want the sweet rolls, always. I'm like, dude, these are my fucking sweet rolls. I'm the Dovahkiin. You can't take my sweet rolls. I'm gonna yell your ass off a cliff. Hate that shit. So, not too far-fetched, but I think it would be awesome if they implemented that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll really help with immersion, too. Having the differences of enemies during day and night, like it would be just like in real life. You have different threats during day and night.
And
it almost seems like we're talking more about the AI's like cycle than the day and night, like that would kind of be figured out by how much of a routine everyone has and stuff like that, like are people actually going home at night with their day jobs and new people coming out, or like even Skyrim does that, like everybody has a schedule and stuff like that. So
well, and a really big point to that is The Witcher 3, even The Witcher 2 did it, but The Witcher 3 people do have day jobs. I mean, they literally go to bed, they sleep, they wake up at a certain time, they'll go do their thing, they'll go to the bar and stuff like that, and then they'll come back home. So it's not something outside the wheelbox for CD Projekt Red to do, but on this scale, it's kind of crazy. So I would assume there'd probably be a more algorithmic AI for certain types of people who do certain kinds of things. But yeah, I don't think it's too far outside of what they would do, just because they've already stressed that what you wear will affect your stats and street cred. Yeah. You'll be perceived differently by people based off what you wear. So, if they're already thinking about shit like that, they're probably thinking about day and night cycles.
Like a T-shirt that says, "These are my sweet rolls. Stay away from them."
Or then people are going to be coming for them sweet rolls.
You're going to look at that guy and be like, that looks like a guy who would steal some sweet rolls.
Yeah. You wear that shirt and you walk in a store and people are like, no, not you. Get out. I don't deal with sweet rolls. I'm sick of hearing about this shit.
Sweet rolls go into a glass case with a lock.
You know how many people get fucking killed in these streets over sweet rolls? I don't want anything to do with this. Go home. Wherever you come from, I don't care. I don't need your life story. Let's see. Where was I at? Epic scale city, including skyscrapers with verticality, being able to go up into buildings and multiple districts. So
we got a taste of that in that video.
Yeah, but somebody asked specifically, how many of those buildings am I going to be able to go into? Which would be an insane technical feat if you go into every single one. I don't think you'll be able to do that. And they didn't say that either, but they did say that there are a lot of places you're going into, and you're going to be able to go up into skyscrapers and see the whole city from up there. Which is something that Mike Pondsmith also was talking about. He always had this dream when he was creating Cyberpunk of being able to view the city from a perspective like that. So that's something they're working on. Somebody also said, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read in comments people were talking about being able to scale buildings with the fucking mantis blades. I think that's what they're called.
I saw someone say that as well, and the only thing they even showed in the video was like sticking to the wall for a moment, and I don't know if that was because of the mantis blades or another augment.
It seemed like a move to
Yeah.
be able to get to the wall and then jump down on people, like a stealth move, almost like in Splinter Cell when you jump up in a hallway and you did the splits. They took
Right.
it out of later Splinter Cells, but you could like wait for people and drop down on them.
and then take the sweet rolls.
Yeah, you get the fucking sweet rolls, but fucking. I'm just thinking about that. But yeah, they're talking about like scaling buildings, and I don't know if that's actually going to be in the game or not. I'd be really impressed if it was, but I don't know if that's fact. But just the idea of being able to actually go up through buildings, I don't know if you're going to be going floor from floor or like up an elevator to a different floor. But either way, we are getting a very large scale city with a lot of places to go into it.
At the very least, really good fooling of like,
Right.
yeah. I don't know how I'm trying to word
All I
that.
can
But
think of now is Bionic Commando, and I just want to grapple arm. That's my ex-wife.
I loved that game, and I'm the only person on the planet, and that's fine. Don't kink shame.
Kink shaming is my kink.
The soundtrack to that game is really good too.
Yeah, it was. I loved that game. It was really fun. Okay, so there's going to be 6 districts in the game. Going to go through them real quick. City Center, which is Night City's biggest pride. This is the heart of the corporations, the cluster of neon, and the quintessence of luxury. Watson is a unique mix of Asian cultures. It is a fallen corporate giant now populated by immigrants hiding various bazaars and markets in a tangle of narrow alleyways. Westbrook is featuring tourist-oriented Japantown. It is a place for the wealthy who like to work hard and play hard. So it kind of sounds like Vegas or something. Huh?
Nothing.
it's gonna be Yakuza dice games. They're gonna get their tattooed arm out and
You're going to roll some dice. It's illegal to get money, so they're going to hand you the sweet roll.
Han.
You're going to walk outside, and you're going to place it in the tent, and they're going to exchange it for other goodies.
sweet rolls.
Yeah. And you're going to go home a full and happy boy. Or girl. Haywood, living in one of the neighborhoods of the predominantly Latino area means you successfully managed to climb to the social ladder. It's a massive suburban housing district with an underlying gang problem. Pacifica, on the other end of the spectrum, this is the most dangerous part of town, abandoned and overrun by gang activity, separated from the rest of the city. It's a place of immense poverty. And Santo Domingo, all night city, is powered from here with the countless power plants and industrial factories stuck in an endless cycle of modernization. So yeah, I just want to go through that because it's interesting to hear almost of like an idea of these districts culturally. So obviously a lot of games will have like different areas that have a theme, but it's cool to hear that there's like a cultural element to the ideas of these as well, because that's a really important part of Cyberpunk. I mean, one thing I'm hoping for in this game too is there's a class called Nomads who essentially travel the highways and the freeways because they've become really dangerous places to travel because there's gangs and shit who will, try and jack you there. So there's people who know how to navigate those places and are ready for those threats, stuff like that. And I'm hoping they have stuff like that. And hearing this, it sounds like they will, because there's so many deeper thought out elements to these sections of the city. That sounds kinda cool.
I mean, obviously it's very reminiscent of the ideas that go behind the pen and paper game, which obviously the game is based off. But even Shadowrun, I remember looking at a map of Seattle for Shadowrun, and there was the corporate center. This is where all the shops are, and then this is where the rich people live, and everyone else lives here.
Yeah.
And there's literal walls separating all those sections.
Well, and that's the interesting thing about this too, is like 3 of those sections sound like impoverished places. Yeah. It's not just like one section of cities, like the slums. It's like there's a lot of slums. There's different slums.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So they did confirm that there will be romance options in this game. You will meet people, be able to create relationships with them and potentially have romances with them, but there's also going to be one night stands. You'll be able to bring people back to your apartment, do whatever the fuck you like to do.
Bake sweet rolls
in fucking animal costumes.
Were sweet rolls confirmed for this game?
I'll get in touch and ask them personally. I'm like, okay, all this sounds real
I think
good.
a certain Mr. Howard might be upset with that.
This sounds all real
You
good,
never know.
but
Next thing you know, they've changed the name to Sweet Rolls 2077.
sweet rolls 2077. God, I'd be upset. Next thing is emphasis on choice, multiple ways to go about doing missions, avoiding certain scenes completely. They were talking about how the demo that they showed off, there's like so many different ways you can go about that you would never even see what even happened there. It wouldn't tie in later. You would just go and do it a completely different way. So if you're talking with your friend and you did it that way and they did it this way, those cutscenes just would not exist for them. So the part where she's pulling the gun up, putting it into that guy's face or whatever, all that would never happen. Yeah, so really, they said it's very challenging for them to make all these different routes, but they also don't want to cheapen or half-ass it. They want to do exactly what they want, like the idea is, which is really commendable in my opinion.
That adds a lot of replay value to the game too,
Yep.
because if you want, you can go through and try to re-experience things in different ways and always get something different, which is really nice.
Which is in my note as well, adding incentive to play again, because like you played it, now you have a reason to play through it again and see experience something completely different.
Right.
And also skills and knowledge can change the route completely. So that's all obviously kind of a no-brainer. If you're really good at hacking, you're gonna probably go down different routes, but also decisions you've made and people you've talked to could change a route in otherwise something that no one else would have that same experience.
Well,
obviously, unless they made the same
They
decisions
tried
you
to
did.
emphasize that a lot, even during that video. They were talking about how, like, at this point, you know, if you would have had a different relationship with this person, this might not have played out this way, or if, you know, you had a higher, you know, skill in this regard, it could have played a different way. It really does seem like they want it to feel like an RPG. That you have choice and decision in, and also that weird, I guess, way to word it, but like, you know, the whole butterfly effect thing matters as well in the game too. Like something ripples later, then you're like, why the fuck is this person being such a dick? And it could be because, you know, you fucked over their friend before and shit like that. So
yeah, and it's funny too because I for a while now, ever since I played Witcher 3, I was like, holy shit, these guys are literally snatching away that whole game that like Bethesda's famous for. Like these guys are like taking it and going like, this is what these games should be like in, you know, whatever year it is. And so you know, they're essentially fucking taking that market because Bethesda keeps re-releasing Skyrim for fucking 60 years, and the Sweet Roll edition's coming out soon. And but now I'm hearing about this more, and I'm like, they're also fucking taking away from BioWare, because BioWare's taking a hit with Andromeda. People are saying it's good now, but like still it was not well received, and people still look at it negatively. But now they're working on Anthem, and that may be good and may be bad, we don't know. But it's definitely in a different direction. So that's leaving it wide open for these guys to make, you know, this fully conversational, fleshed out game full of choices and stuff like that. So it's just kind of crazy.
I almost kind of feel like we're almost crossing into like Rockstar GTA territory here.
Yeah.
Even though it's an RPG, it's still like the open world. Like I've been
feels similar.
hoping for Rockstar to make a Cyberpunk or a futuristic
That'd be
open world
amazing.
game forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, yeah, I never even thought about that. Like if they made like a futuristic Grand Theft Auto Rockstar, it'd be amazing.
Well, it's funny too because speaking of Rockstar, you know, we obviously watched and I speak for me and Seth obviously on this regard.
Whoa, you're speaking for me, dog.
We watched the Red Dead 2 trailer, and
Sweet Rolls too.
And that's another company that really is like detail oriented to a crazy level. You brought it up earlier, even with the first person in Grand Theft Auto 5, and yeah, they're these also companies that take their time to make a game, though. You notice that, and they don't really talk about
Naughty
it until
Dog,
it's ready.
CD Projekt Red. There's companies that like. Some people are like, man, that's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of work. If we fail, you know, it's not going to work. And so they do it, you know, conservatively. They just do what they know is going to work, and then they might add like a feature that was like, whoa, that's crazy. You can now blow up the floor in this game or something like that. That's not in a lot of games. But then like companies like this, they're like, dude, fucking, we're going to make this happen, and we're going to take as long as we fucking need, and we have the resources to do it. And And not every company can do that, but the companies that can do it, like, they obviously stand out.
If you are curious at all about CD Projekt and the creation of Witcher and everything like that, like definitely check out No Clip YouTube channel. They do documentaries about games, and they have a 3-part series on CD Projekt, and it's really interesting. Hosted by Danny O'Dwyer, used to be GameStop person, but he's a really cool guy, and his channel's cool.
I think I've heard of that. I heard about somebody who makes gaming documentaries, so I'll have to check that out.
Yep, it's No Clip.
Huh.
Because did they do one on DE for Warframe? Somebody made a Warframe documentary.
I'm not sure. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. I don't play Warframe, so it's just like...
Oh, you're missing out.
He has to hear about it in the Discord channel that he's in all the time, too, so...
You
also,
should.
Gerald at work tells me about it all the time.
Oh, that's a whole other fucking... That's a whole other realm of discussion. Whew. That's like saying aliens talk to you from another dimension. Substantial playthrough length, think Witcher. So they're asked about how long this game is. It's going to be like 20 hours. They're like, no, it's going to be like, think like Witcher at the very least in length. So it's going to be a full-fledged RPG. It's not going to be like you're going to beat it in like 10, 20 hours, which is cool to hear because, you know, a game of this scale with this many things, you could see how somebody would make, you know, if it's storyline driven, a shorter experience just to nail that. So motorcycles have been confirmed. So there is cars, also motorcycles. There's been speculation on flying vehicles, which would be very cool. But
that would be very cool.
Yeah.
Do you drive them?
Yeah.
How do they drive?
First person.
Like
awesome.
boats.
First person, yeah.
So excited about first person driving cars. That's like what I do in these games, like GTA, for example.
Actually, you can go third person though.
You can, and you can also, at least
I
that
like
was
first
shown
person
in the
driving.
video. When they started getting in a fight, the passenger grabbed the steering wheel and the driver popped out the window and he
started
started
shooting,
fighting
yeah.
while you're driving down the freeway. So
Which is very cool. Just the motorcycle thing is really cool too because like I was already excited about the car. Like, oh, car, and they're like, oh, there's multiple cars. I'm like, that's awesome. And then somebody asked, like, is there other kinds of vehicles and is there
Yeah,
motorcycles?
but you can't have a Cyberpunk game without Cyberpunk ass motorcycles.
Yeah, you have to have a motorcycle. You have to have a fucking katana.
Neon light on it and shit like that.
Yeah. Next thing, going into exactly what I said, there is a full melee system in the game,
will be thrilled.
and including katanas. That was something that people were kind of wondering about because it is kind of a staple to be a samurai. Street samurai in Cyberpunk, to have a katana, but they said beyond that you can fight with your hands and other weapons, and it's not just like, oh, I picked up a weapon in this point and I'm gonna start swinging it. There's a whole, you could spec your guy in that direction. So I know Josh will be very excited for that.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for that. I mean, I like shooting in games like this, but like I also like having the variety of making a character if I wanted to, being just a dedicated like brawler, just up close in your face, punchy.
Yeah. Yeah, in a game with augments, stuff like that too, you can get really creative with your builds, and like you can give yourself an edge for having, you know, a melee weapon if you can like jump really high or far or like go invisible or something like that.
Right, or move really fast, or see things at a better rate than other people can.
Or that Krasnikov, which is a drug where everything's slowed the fuck down, which would be really cool.
It's an ability that you could use if you had the high enough stats, and the only reason they could have the stats is because they took the drug to up their stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
So, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for the
You just checking your Twitter?
yeah,
Jesus Christ, I'm bored.
digital extremes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Keep looking. So there is no companion system like Fallout in this. So you're not just going to have like a person that you call and be like, all right, let's go. But depending on the decisions you've made and whatever quest you're doing, and depending on your choices, you may have somebody join you in a quest, or you may have groups join you. So you could do a quest where there's like a bunch of people with you, or one person with you, but they also want you to be alone also to really kind of live in your character and be, you know, like, it's not a game where you're going to be like, all right, let's take the dog this time. Let's take the big guy this time who's going to tank shit for me. So that's interesting. Like I said, feel free to jump in. I'm just going to go. You may be able to buy new apartments, but you will be able to upgrade apartments. So I say it that way because they said somebody noticed in the video there was like advertisement or something about new apartments. And they're like, so will you be able to get ones? And they're like, you'll definitely be able to upgrade apartments. So that sounds like you'll be able to get new apartments, but they use the word upgrade, so I'm being safe with this
Probably
and
very
saying
specific
you'll be able to do
spots.
something that will make your apartment either better or you'll be able to get new apartments, which I think is fucking awesome because that adds another live-in quality to an open world game. I think in Grand Theft Auto 5 it was awesome to be able to own a house and sell it and buy a new house. It gives you a sense of living in that, and this is my house, and I stop back by here and I do some shit, and then I go out and do missions, and it gives that quality of like, you know, you're not just okay, mission 1, mission 2, mission 3, I'm flying through this game, but like, oh, I'm gonna walk down the street, I'm gonna go to the store, I'm gonna go back to my house, I'm gonna get in a fight with this dude, and all this random shit. That you get to have those stories that I think is really important.
Also kind of feels like it gives you, or at least in Grand Theft Auto, it feels like it gives you a way to like gauge your progress. Like the first couple places are shitholes, and then like you get fucking something really nice. You could see like a fucking nice view and everything like that. Like kind of that like I'm doing pretty good for myself now kind of thing.
It's
of
like
course, I'm
Scarface.
sure how you'll be doing for yourself in fucking Cyberpunk, but you know.
Yeah, in Cyberpunk, I mean, you're never gonna be, you know, top dog, but you can still survive. That's a really good point though, because it does give you a sense of like you start the game and you got this little shanty, and then later you're in a high rise.
Later on, you have a bigger closet.
Yeah, a bigger closet that's higher up the elevator, so you get to see past some of the tall buildings.
You can now see ground level.
Yeah. You see that the sun exists.
You have a bigger kitchen to hold all those sweet rolls.
Well, dedicated sweet roll refrigerator.
Sweet roll vending machine, maybe.
Yeah, it's just the funnel you plug into your mouth and you press the button and it says go. And as you press and hold it, it starts accumulating the tab of how much you own or how much you owe them as the sweet rolls go tunk, 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 tunk. And when you're fully sweet roll satiated, you can just let go of the button.
And you got to get an augment so you can digest sweet rolls faster, so you can have more sweet rolls.
If you want more,
Just
you
an
gotta
insulin
get that
injector,
upgrade. You got the insulin injector and the fucking bionic stomach that just goes and just passes them through you. It's a separate tube that pumps them out somewhere else. Who gives a fuck? As long as it's not my apartment, I don't give a shit. Going into the neighbor's apartment, they didn't pay for this. Yeah. So they emphasize making conversations seamless, getting away from the cutscene feel, which we definitely saw in the 48-minute gameplay where they're talking, and they said that you're going to be making decisions as they're happening. So if there's something new you can say in that moment and you say it, it's going to just happen. It's not going to feel like, and I kind of said that specifically when we watched it. It was cool how like in a lot of games you get those decisions and they'll kind of wait on you, and then you'll click it and then it'll kind of go into the next scene. Whatever's been planned.
Like, I ain't waiting all day.
Yeah.
You know?
They're like, come on, what are you doing? And you're just like, what am I gonna pick? Come on, I ain't got all day. What's going on? Blah blah blah. And then you're like, all right, I'm gonna do this. Like, all right, let's go. And then the next scene happens. They said they're putting a lot of work. They said it's a very hard thing for them to be doing, but they want every time you talk to anybody. When you're in the street and you walk up, you're not going to get like the cutscene bars and a bunch of stuff. Like you're just going to walk up, hit the button, they're going to start talking to you, and you're going to be able to talk to them back as it's happening. And no matter what happens, it's going to be seamless and just keep going. Which I think on a technical level is fucking amazing, but I'm really excited for that. I love immersion. So
no, it's super cool. And like you said, we saw a little taste of it in the video, specifically like when the deal's going down. And you can like look at this person, and like as soon as you looked over there, it showed you options available, and then you look back and there's options, both conversation and action options. And then even like you could look down the table and it might say something like, "Oh, grab the mug," you know, stuff like that. So
yeah. And
literally the moment you know, the person said pull gun, she went and instantly just the action was going, and the guy
it wasn't like she was holding down and going, okay, are you sure
stutter,
you're gonna do this?
No anything. It was just
yeah.
So probably one of the most impressive things I saw,
which is such a small thing, but it was very, very cool.
So very cool.
Like you said, that really helps with immersion because your decisions are instantaneous. Like you're not just sitting there dawdling, waiting for them to.
You're in the moment.
Yeah, and if you don't take that action, then you don't get to see what happens. Or, you know, if you don't draw your gun at the right moment, you could be punished for it.
Or just go down a different path. That situation, you know, you could have went some other way in that instant, but you didn't do it, like in real life. You know, am I going to punch this person or not? Fucking, that's going to change the situation. Punch this guy in the fucking sweet rolls.
Right in the sweet roll.
Get him in the sweet rolls. He's got that tung 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 thing happening. Are you going to take advantage of that? You're going to wait till he's done. You know, if you want to be, you know, higher morality, you're probably going to wait for him to finish. Might take a couple days, but you know, I can come back. You're busy.
No, it's cool. I'll just put this in my pocket.
Yeah, I was gonna punch you, but we'll continue this later. I don't want to fucking interrupt a connoisseur, fellow connoisseur of the sweet rolls. Yeah. So their philosophy on side quests in this is that they have to be something that you have not already done. So every side quest that they plan and create has to be something that does not exist in the game already. The stories are side quests, or the stories for side quests have to be different, and something has to happen when you finish them. So there has to be a point to it. When you finish a side quest, they want an end result, and they also say that the side quests can change the story or can be affected by the story.
That's cool. Well, they showed that off a little bit with Witcher 3 though, where like the side quests weren't.
Witcher 3 has the most impressive fucking side quests.
Hey, go fetch that sweet roll. It was more.
They all matter. Who's been taking all the sweet rolls?
Hey, my sweet rolls.
I want you
missing.
to follow them into the woods and find out where they've been taking my sweet rolls.
Out? So instead of just going and getting it, you went and found the thief and the reasons why the sweet rolls were their target. And
why aren't the sweet rolls sweet?
Yeah,
where's the sweetness gone? Use your black magic to find out.
And you played a whole different game while you were waiting to come back to Witcher 3.
That's great. I'm glad that they are really emphasizing their side quests aren't going to be the repeat like fetch quests or kill quests. They're all going to be unique, but that can also like be a real hindrance on them too, because coming up with new quest designs for side quests like that in either a large quantity for an open world could be very daunting.
For anybody except for them though, because they already did it in Witcher 3. I mean, like when I emphasize this, like I've never played a game where the side quests were like they could have been their own fucking game. The stories like are detailed enough that like I never played a side quest and went like, yeah, okay, whatever, let's fucking do this. Like I'm listening to the person, I'm like, this is like a whole written out thing. This could be like an episode of like a show or something. Like it's its own.
Sure, it wasn't an
section.
Afterthought.
Yeah, it
was
crazy.
Hey, this person also has problems. They're not necessarily world-saving problems, but
this is like a chapter in your story.
There was some neat side quests in like Skyrim and stuff like that, but I think the way it ties in, like what they're saying, is that it actually changed the world. Because like the whole Civil War side thing in Skyrim, like sort of changes the world for anything relating to that, but then like nobody cares that you like single-handedly fucking solved the Civil War problem, right? It never comes up anywhere outside of that quest line.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, exactly.
I guess what I'm talking about, what I would like to see is like if you do something that would people would hate you or love you for some kind of notoriety, if that came into play anywhere else in the story or in the world, would be really cool. Or vice versa, if they know who you are from the main story and in the side quests they're like, oh, hey, fucking rob this dude, maybe you could help me out with something.
Which is such a crazy task to take on, to put that kind of...
I heard about how you let that guy go with his sweet rolls, so like maybe I like sweet rolls too, and the next thing you know, everybody like is wearing these shirts that say, I like sweet rolls too.
Hey, aren't you that fuck who stole the sweet rolls?
Are you the sweet roll savior? I thought you were a fucking legend. I thought you were a myth.
I don't deal with your kind.
I can't believe I'm meeting you. And just to add on to that too, they said they're not interested in doing like, go kill this many of this and go grab this from me and blah blah blah, without obviously it's gonna be very hard to avoid go do this for me, because that's what almost any quest is gonna be, but they don't want to have filler. They don't want to have missions where it's like, okay, go kill fucking 20 of these punks.
Right, you're not gonna go up to random guy A and he's not gonna tell you to go kill 5 fucking random guy B's just because he wants them dead. It's going to be more so like, hey, these guys fucking stole from me. Here's the reason why. They're usually found here around this time. I mean, it's probably going to be more like that.
Yeah.
So,
I stole my vintage iPhone 6S. You know how old that thing is?
They can fucking have it.
Fair. But yeah, I know they're going to do this, but to what degree, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope they just do something that I've never seen.
Well, I mean, they already set a bar in that regard.
Yeah.
So all they can do is beat themselves.
Exactly. And I know at the very least they're going to do that, which is very exciting for me. And last thing is more of to explain to people essentially what you're getting into when it comes to playing in a cyberpunk world. Mike Pondsmith said that, his whole mantra with Cyberpunk is that you can't save the world, but you can save yourself, which is their philosophy going into this game. They want people to know that when you play this game, you are not playing a hero who's going to save the day. You're not going to change the world. You're not going to fix the poverty. You're not going to take out, the big bad guy and everyone's going to be happy and you're the hero now. You're essentially living in this world, and there will be a storyline you're going to play through, but just like in pen and paper, I mean, this is pretty much, what are those called?
Trying to look out for number one.
Yeah. But it's like a scenario. It's like one, like,
it's
obviously
campaign.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just a campaign that's going to exist within this world. You're just in this world, and this is your story. And like I said, the story could be big and epic, but like you're not playing the hero. In fact, you're going to make a lot of questionable decisions to live in this world, because Cyberpunk is a dystopian future where corporations already own everything, and it's not a happy place, but it's full of danger and excitement and shit, and that's kind of the point of it. That's the allure of it. So that's kind of the big thing. They want people to know that you're just existing in this world. You're not here to change it. There's no revolution that you're going to be making. So
I'm saving Night City.
Saving them sweet rolls. As long as those are safe, fucking who gives a shit? The factory's fine. I got access to them. I got the augments. I got the machine. I'm chugging sweet rolls, and fucking who needs anything else in this dark ass world?
Awesome. I'm so tired of fucking. You're the only hero
The
in this
chosen one.
world game. Like I was talking to Chevy
Yeah,
at
we were
work,
just talking
fucking
about this.
about Destiny 2. What really bugged me about that is it's a fucking multiplayer MMORPG. And they still had to stick to the "you are the one true hero that's going to save everything" fucking storyline. Like, why do that?
My least favorite part of Destiny 2 is its story. It's fine for anyone who likes it a lot, but I mean, like, it is nothing groundbreaking, and that's undersaying.
But it
Like,
exists. You have to give them that.
Barely.
fair.
Did you play the first game?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, at least they tried to show you that there's a
First
story.
game, I didn't give a fuck, man.
Yeah. That wizard came from the moon. All right, Dinklebot.
Dinklebot.
But yeah, I agree with you, because as much as the next person, I like an underdog story, I like a hero story, but as a person who's getting like superhero fatigue and a bunch of shit, and seeing just that I mean, people complain about like Avatar being similar to that archetype of story. One that's way more fucking abundant is the chosen one who's going to save everyone.
Well, you
and be the
guys
hero.
were literally just giving Spider-Man praise for relaxing on that a little bit.
I mean,
too.
that is a point. Like in Spider-Man, you already exist as Spider-Man. People know you're Spider-Man. You're talking to the SWAT team. They're like, "Hey, Spider-Man." Like, you're not. This isn't your rise to fame. You are just Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There's more interesting stories than hero saves the day all the time. Even like the
100%.
Marvel movies aren't doing that anymore. Like
Yeah, they got away from it.
there's still so many instances of that in video games. I'm just happy that I'm hoping this game has more to say.
Yeah, I
Well, it
mean,
would be really out of fucking theme to make a game based in that world where you're trying to save the world, because it's just you're living everyday life when you play that game.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like they're just going to try to do as well.
and even if you get elevated to the point where you are living good and you're making a lot of money, like now you're just the corporations. The world's still fucked.
Now I
Like
swim in the sweet
you're gonna
rolls.
fall into that. You're gonna fall into that dark world of just like the chick in the trailer saying like someday you might be me.
It's not that surprising either, because Witcher, like, it's not like he was ever the like, oh, I'm gonna save her. He's like got a job to do and shit like
Half
that.
the time he's like,
might-
you got money? Like people are
Yeah.
like, dude, there's this thing trying to kill everybody. And he's
he's
like,
literally-
it's like, where's the money at?
A dude who most people they're like, I don't really like you, but you can fix my problems. So.
Horson's working magic. Anytime anyone said shit, people say Horson all the time in that game, and they say he's working magic, and I'm like, you talk like that, I'm gonna start
I was like,
slapping
you're
you.
just a dude like I gotta stay alive and I gotta be able to buy shit. So
You're a Witcher, you know what the
Yeah.
fuck you are. People don't like you for it. You know they don't like you for it. You know you got skills that can make money. so you fucking make money off of it. I mean, yeah. So this isn't anything new for them. Yeah. But just think about that in a story sense, like any story where you are like the chosen one and you're supposed to save everybody, it's fine, it's whatever. But for me, it's white noise. I just want to play the game at that point, and unless it's done particularly very well, I typically
like you
don't.
Fail at the end.
I don't. Yeah, that's fine. That's awesome. I like a little bit of like darkness in a story. I don't have to fucking win and save everything as long as it's played out well. Like I think Last of Us is a great example of that. I'm not going to go too far into that. People should play it and fucking figure that out. But
it's dark though.
That story is an existing story. It's not, you didn't I mean, you get personal gain at the end, but at a cost. And that's it. It's dark. I love it.
Yeah. And not to spoil that game at the end at all, but imagine if that went the other way, how less affecting that story would have been.
Exactly.
Like,
wouldn't have been memorable in that regard. The way that game played out at its ending.
But if the end result,
I can remember the entire thing, and I don't remember things well, so
yeah. It's a personal story that I think most people who, unless you're a sociopath, if you care about people, you get where it's coming from, and that hard decision of whether this could happen, this could fix everything, or am I going to do what I think is right, what I need, what I care about, at a cost of essentially betraying someone's trust.
Better.
Yeah, but like that kind of layering is awesome, and the ending, no one beat that game and went, fuck yeah,
no one
I
wins.
love that, like fucking he won, like you're just like holy shit. It's like when you finish,
I needed a fucking drink of whiskey after the end of that game.
It's like No Country for Old Men. You finish, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And that kind of storytelling is my favorite. Something that makes you think about it, and Cyberpunk lends itself to that. So
100%.
Just seeing, you're just experiencing that world, and that's awesome. So very excited for the game. Anything you guys want to say on Cyberpunk and all the shit we just talked about? Sweet rolls. What's your favorite kind of sweet roll? You guys have one? Are you guys as big experts on sweet rolls as you've been pretending this whole episode? Because I am.
No, man, I just like pastries.
I'm not. I can pick they like the Cinnabons. Is that what a sweet roll is?
It can be whatever you want it to be, man.
It's glazed bread.
I thought it was a sexual thing this whole time.
I mean,
that's like
no
talking
kink
about
shaming.
squeezing his sweet rolls and shit like that.
Yeah. I'm with Chevy. I like pastries.
Yeah, I just like pastries.
They're good. Bread's not good for you, but I don't give a fuck.
Delicious.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this episode.
I think so.
Tastecast episode 75.
Getting antsy.
Again, yeah, you've been talking about that antsy in the pantsy thing for all day.
Yeah.
Been a long day of antsiness. I want to thank Paul for joining us again.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah. You always add a lot to the conversation, which I really appreciate. I like people who can hang in there and fucking talk about sweet rolls.
Sure, I'll be back at some point.
Yeah, definitely, anytime. But I would love for you to let our community know about your podcast. I listen to it. I like it a lot. I really like music. So if you want to plug it.
BrokenDialRadio.com is the website, and our podcast is on iTunes and Pod Stitcher or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't allowed to have it on Spotify or Google because we have a bunch of music. Pretty much it's a new music recommendation and music review podcast where we listen to a bunch of music and try to talk about mostly good stuff, a couple bad things. But it's genre-less, or genre-full, as we like to say. So it's all different kinds of music. The only, we try to listen to good music, and subjective, but that's where a lot of the fun in the podcast comes from. I have samples of all the music, around 30 seconds, little clips here and there. So it takes a lot of work to prepare. So hopefully you guys like it. But I'm working on a new one. We should be getting that recorded towards the end of the week. So a new episode is incoming. So yeah, come check it out, Broken Dial Radio.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I've listened to all the episodes, and the thing I really appreciate about your podcast is the flow of it. You don't stay on one topic for too long, so you get in there, you guys listen to a part of a song, which I appreciate. You even played the clip, because most people probably wouldn't do that. They'd be afraid of getting in trouble on that. And then you guys will discuss it and move into another one, and as a guy who really likes music myself, the variety of genre is awesome to hear, because I know a lot of people like to stay in their safe zone and listen to, you know, the genre they like, and that would get really boring for me. So I really appreciate just the flow and how much different types of music you guys are listening to. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I do it for myself too, because like it's so hard. There's so much music now to keep up with.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And there's no way, obviously, at all. But this has like driven me to like search out such like new stuff that's out of my safe zone and stuff like that I ended up loving. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. So yeah. And we have playlists on Spotify and Apple Music as well. If you just search for the user Broken Dial Radio, you should be able to find it.
Very cool. Yeah, check it out. But yeah, that's gonna do it. So make sure to like, subscribe to this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. I'm gonna do something with the Facebook at some point. It's been sitting there for a while. Facebook's constantly like, you got like 17 people looking at it. I'm
Dude,
like,
that one
Post
and
pictures of sweet rolls.
I'm about to actually
new-
post something to our Tumblr. I'm gonna get a sweet roll. Put it up there.
the Sweet Roll fucking Facebook. If you want everything to know about Tasty Loot Gaming and Sweet Rolls, fucking check that out. Check me and Chris out on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word for me. Tasty_fruit for Chris. I asked you this last time. I think you said no, but do you have a Twitch, Paul?
No. I mean, I do, but I'm never on it, so it's pointless.
Fair. I probably should say that as well, but
I have
I
the
hop
same
on there once in a
problem.
while. But
You're on
It
it every now and
exists
then.
for no reason.
hit the notification button to know when we go live, because that shit's always finicky on everything nowadays. And yeah, check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. All the links are down below. We got like 9 different ones if you want to listen to us. And if you're listening to us and you want to watch us, come check us out on YouTube at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out our Discord as well, down in the description box as well, if you want to talk to us personally and be like, hey, I'm also the biggest fan of Sweet Rolls. I can't believe how much that episode resonated with me. I mean, you have no idea, life-changing. And we'll be like, dude, they're okay. We kind of like them, but I mean, there's better things.
Yeah, you can also tell us how much you don't like sweet rolls. We'd be very interested. It's pretty much we need to know how you feel about sweet rolls.
Yeah,
so
just
tell us.
get in that Discord and be like, dude, fuck, shut up about the Sweet Rolls, all right? And be like, no.
It's got that orange glaze to it.
Are we talking about the sexual Sweet Rolls or normal Sweet Rolls?
Whatever.
And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
I'm Chris.
I'm Paulie.
And yeah, until the next episode, have a good week, guys, and take it easy. Happy sweet rolling. Is that a thing? Do people sweet roll?
Man,